catch up, see how everything is going. Thank you, Naya. Um, See how things are going, what is kind of transpiring. I also know that it's been, given Christmas, given the storms and stuff, that it's actually been pretty complicated in this particular season. So just want to see where things are, what type of progress we're making, and so forth. Um, Let me see, because I still haven't heard anything from Terrence. Can you hear me over there, Terrence? Let me know if you can hear us, if you can unmute yourself at all, if you're in a place to do that. Okay, so yeah, hopefully he'll hop on and be able to communicate with us and such. And yeah, I know Taisha, I know I sent an email to you um yesterday. Did you get it? Did you get that by chance?
I'm I'm sorry. You sent a what did you say?
An email regarding the questions around the vans.
Oh my God, yes, I did. And I meant to sit down and respond to that. I think my Wi-Fi is acting up. Yes, I did. And thank you very much for that follow-up. I was speaking with a number of people just to get some dates so that potentially I can, when I do respond to you, we can maybe, touch bases to see if the van would be available for some upcoming dates that will need like all of our equipment en route and on the road. But no, thank you for that.
Awesome, awesome. No, you're welcome. Definitely was surprised and glad about about their responses too, because they were just like, oh yeah, like let us know, let us know, and we can touch base with whoever needs to be communicated with. And so definitely glad to see their yeah, just their reaction and openness to the whole situation.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that, and thank you. I'm surprised that they would allow it too. So that's great
Right,
news.
right, right. I hear that. Yeah, good morning, Felicia.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm glad you hopped on. Yeah, we actually weren't expecting to do it all virtually again, but I remember we're talking with Naya yesterday. We were just saying that we would also be playing it by ear, just because we're not knowing not only just how the weather is doing, but how people are doing. I was letting Naya know earlier that the marketing team who will be presenting today, one of their members got sick, and so they were thinking that they shouldn't come in person if we were to meet in person. And so we just decided that it would be best if we just made the effort to just do it all virtually. Um, and so we're just waiting on them to hop on. Um, but yeah, how have things been going on your end, Miss Felicia?
I have a hot mess going right now. My whole program has been my nutrition program, my community services, which is adult activities, and our COVID hub has all been suspended. We are awaiting a general contractor and the insurance inspection so that they could either red tag, yellow tag, or temporarily relocate us. We've had to wait because there's so much flooding till today, even though the flooding actually happened on New Year's Eve while we weren't here. But our
Mm,
neighbors called and told us that there was just like a river of water coming down Arch Street in some kind of way, how that street is elevated. It was coming down and it made a right turn right into our backyard. So our back is flooded, which flooded the kitchen, which flooded the multi-purpose room, the clinic, and we had a 2 feet pool on top of our roof. So they're coming to make sure that the roof, the integrity of the structure. I have staff that I've had to lay off, and I'm still
mm,
actually serving who's working. We've gone to virtual programming and to home delivered meals that I have to order and pick up because our center is in a disarray. So I haven't gotten very much rest with just the amount of outpouring, the Red Cross, the city and the county, the Department of Public Health, everyone trying to see how they can help. But I needed the inspections to happen so I can tap into insurance for relocation, then trying to get the community to come out and pack it up and take stuff to a storage. If I could just go to a temporary location would help. I don't want to move 4 times.
Right.
We haven't had
Right.
no time off because we operated Monday through Saturday during COVID, and we're not even out of that now this. So I'm really drained, tired.
Right. Understandable. Yeah, sorry to hear all that. That's definitely yeah, very
And every day we come in, we still have water, so we can't even put things in our multi-purpose room. So, and the people are still showing up to get tested and vaccinated because they had appointments. So the hub is shut down, the center is shut down, and the phone's ringing off the hook.
Right. Wow. And where is the water entering from?
Multi places.
Oh,
It's no longer entering from the roof because they figured out why we had a 2-foot pool on the roof was that the drains were clogged with a sand-like material because this is a very windy community, and it was almost like concrete. So they came and they flushed that. So the water went through, but we're still having puddles like we're a squeegee. We have to go and squeegee out our multi-purpose room. But the water now is not coming into the clinic and the back offices from up underneath the walls. It's just that the walls are all soft and now they're getting mildew.
oh, right.
Because the rains won't stop. And when the water restoration people came, we have so much water intrusion that they won't use the humidifiers. Humidifiers is like to dry out a wall, but if the water's still running down it, it doesn't help. So we just my facilities crew just keep squeegeeing and shop vacuuming the water so we don't have a trip and fall, which is why I had to lay off my staff because we got a lot of issues, flooding, water, and quite possibly mold. We cut the because every time when the rain stops, I don't know if you noticed, it gets warm. So that warm is only creating mold inside of our soaking walls. So we know that we're going to have to temporarily move. I'm just need some direction from our insurance, but we're fully covered. They're just backed up so much that it took them a week and a half before even being able to get here.
Right.
It's a hot mess, but pray for me if you're a prayer warrior.
We hear that. Yeah, indeed. How about with yourself, Shanita? How are things going on over there?
Like I said, everything is fine. Yesterday was the day where all the flooding was and everything, but we're pretty much fine over here. I know when I was at work yesterday, a big tree had fell on top of the bus, and I'm literally like, did you guys see that?
Yeah, my wife has sent.
Yeah, blocked the whole intersection. I mean, it was crazy. Buses was rerouted. It was taking like 45 minutes to an hour for a bus. You know, you was waiting on the 30. It was crazy in the city. It was toe up. You saw trees uprooted from the ground. I'm like, wow, it was crazy. That was a heavy storm yesterday.
Right. Yeah, no, I saw that picture and it looked like had fallen and taken down some of the lines, so those had to
Yeah,
be
they did.
care
Yeah.
of.
It took down the wires. I think they said it took them about maybe what, 2 to 3 hours just to get them lines back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow. And, as it pertains to the business plan, right, how's that going?
Oh, it's going awesome. I'm
Mhm.
gonna email it to you today just so you can look over it and say, okay,
Nice.
let's fix this. But everything is running so smoothly. Oh, I so thank God. And I thought it was gonna be a charge, and she was like, no, this is a good cause. I want to donate this business plan to you. So that was such a blessing. And
Mm,
right now, I'm just working like on my services. I found me a wholesaler where I can get the wigs for the women that are going through chemo, right?
mhm, mhm.
And so I found the wigs at a good wholesale price from like $10 to $12. I plan on ordering at least about 100 just to start off. Um, I also
Mm,
found me a wholesaler for my robes and slippers because I want to give that away for as a care package, you know? Uh,
yeah.
and so today when I get off here, I have a number where they wholesale the prosthetic bras for ladies that are waiting on reconstructioning or that cannot afford reconstructioning. So everything is good. No complaints. Then I have my first as you know, I was telling you, I have my first gathering on the 28th. That's the first event. And your friend Miss Hattie.
How do you
Yes,
mhm.
yes, yes. So she's letting me host it there up at the Potrero Hill Resource Center.
Nice.
And it's just been a blessing because my pastor donated 500 and then my father, he donated money and people was just cash apping me saying this is a good thing. We want to be
Nice.
involved. What do you need? It's just been such a blessing. I'm just like
Right.
so overwhelmed. I'm so excited, you know. Um, I went to a young lady, well, not a young lady, but I went to her house the other day. She's been sent home. The doctor said it's just like nothing else they can do for her. So
Mm,
when I get off work, I try to go sit with her. I just try to, encourage her, keep her company. I've been running to the store for her, getting groceries, just trying to make it easy for her because I know it's
mhm.
hard. I mean, and then the doctor just sending you home, like there's nothing else we could do for you.
Right,
And
right.
she was just saying like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And I was like, no, it's like, no, you can't give up. You can't give up. You just cannot give up. And then it's like, she was throwing me questions. Well, how did you do it? How did you make it? How did you I was just like, oh my God. So while I'm sharing all this with her, I'm tearing up and I'm trying to be strong for her. And I'm
Right.
just like, wow. So that's how I know my program is very much so needed. You know what I'm saying, Jermaine?
Mhm.
It's really, really needed because a lot of women, they go home and they fight it alone. Mental breakdown, mental stress.
Mhm.
So I'm glad God gave me this vision. And I'm just so excited. I'm excited to get it rolling.
That's good stuff. Good, good. That's good news, especially again knowing that you had that assistance, that was someone that's just willing to help you, piece all of it together. And then, like you mentioned, the fundraising part. And what was it? Something that you create any type of like post about it and share everybody about it?
Yes, I did. The flyers are all on Facebook. They're all in neighborhoods, low income neighborhoods, the stores and everything. So yeah, it's really out there. And a lot of people are hitting me, telling me they want to be there. Are they bringing somebody? Or they lost somebody and they need the uplifting. So
Mm-hmm.
yes. Oh, and another thing, I applied for my 501c3s. Talked to the IRS. They have everything. They said um, I should have them by the end of March. So yeah, I'm on it.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
Progress. That's good stuff.
Yes. But you know what, Jermaine? The question I have for you, I guess we could talk about it later, is like, I don't know how to like do fundraiser. Like, I don't know how to draw them in, I don't know how to do it. And I know I was talking to my friend the other day and I had asked her for a donation, and it was really like, girl, you drive Muni, you got a house, you drive Ben, girl, I'm not giving you no donation. And it kind of like hurted me. So
Uh,
how do I draw people in to help me? Like,
mhm.
I like, don't look at what I have, but look at it as a nonprofit, and we're trying to help cancer patients. Like I need you to help me in that area, because I don't want to keep bumping my head with those kind of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely. No, we could definitely talk about it. Because there will be those people. There will be those people
Man, it
all the
hurted my
time.
feelings so bad. It
Uh-huh.
really, really did. I was like, wow, I thought you was my friend. And then it was like, oh, I'm coming because I know if your mama cooking, it's gonna be some good food. I was like, no, she didn't. But I
Right, right.
was like, no, she didn't.
Right, right. Wow. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good thing, and I think that, yeah, one will touch base, but I know even what I've experienced, I think it's just important that people just hear from you. You know what it is and why you're not going. Let's say selling the car, right? Or
Right.
selling the house, right?
Taking
Um,
money off my house for this. I mean, these people I'm like, what?
Exactly, exactly. But honestly, everybody's not going to ask for that or need that. But there are those folks. There are those ones that are like, I saw you, whatever, right? And so I would say not to mind that as much as getting it out to the folks that would be, like you were just talking about, elated, grateful for the opportunity to be able to contribute to what you're trying to accomplish. And in time, again, it starts turning to stuff around accountability. Let people know, like, hey, this is where the funds are going. And not even just for the sake of accountability, but even for the sake of just like including them in the process, because some people do want to know, oh man, like, I'm glad to know that, you put the money towards that. I'm glad to know that you're
Mhm,
sharing this with us, because it allows us to feel like we're part of,
mhm,
what's happening. And so, definitely take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, we can definitely talk about some of the fundraising things. We actually were talking about that a little bit with the marketing team was going to present today,
mhm,
and recognizing that what Candace emphasized with the individual donor base when she was here is something that we haven't heard a whole lot about, because it's because YCD is so large. We don't, you know, I would say, pursue a lot of individual donors. We pursue a lot of like philanthropists and stuff like that who give like large sums of money. Um, and so with that being said, I feel like that is something that we can all kind of benefit from putting some energy and understanding more about, because it's definitely there. It's definitely going to be friends and family, even associates or friends and family of friends and family that would be willing to contribute. But it's just a matter of putting forth some type of continual and regular effort so that they could know, oh, I forgot that you guys are still doing that. Yeah, let me do that again. Or, in the book I was looking at yesterday, a big thing is to have people make like regular donations. So it goes like maybe once a month, a certain amount just comes out. Um, and
yeah,
that's kind of if you will, one of the larger efforts is like, if you get those folks on, then you can start counting on certain things being there.
mhm,
And when that happens, then you can, see what your capacity is, or even predict what your capacity is based on the people who are contributing regularly. Uh,
mhm.
but yeah, let's definitely touch base about that soon. And I see you raise your hand, Terrence. Are you still there, Terrence? Let me see. Okay. Let me know if you're there, Terrence. Okay. Yeah. Also, I just want to point to that it looks like Bobby's communicating a lot via the chat. And so if you guys can see that too, that he's actually made some comments towards both Felicia and Shanita, that there's some things that, yeah, just encouraging and so forth. Let me see. And Candy, good morning. Just wanted to see how people are doing. Can you give us any updates about how things are on your end?
Good morning, everyone. I am feeling well. As you guys know, I've been praying and manifesting to have the Black Men's Mental Health Summit, and it is officially happening this Saturday. So if any of you guys are available, it's going to be this Saturday at the Bayview Opera House from 1 to 4. You do not need to register. You can just show up. So once again, it'll be this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Bayview Opera House. And even though it's a mental health summit for Black men, all are invited. You guys can show up. And as far as checking in, I am doing well. Just driving myself crazy with trying to get everything together for Saturday. And thank you guys. I'm complete.
Awesome. No, that's good stuff. Good. I know that I know that's on the calendar. In terms of the getting the word out, have you done any thing apart from posting like on Instagram? Have you done any physical flyers or anything like that?
So as far as that, the only place I went to was the Bayview YMCA to put a couple of flyers. That was the only thing I can do as far as time permits, but everything else I just been posting, resharing, tagging other people, emailing people the flyer and things like that. So hopefully, well, not hopefully, but it will be a good turnout and good event.
Awesome. Good stuff. Let me see too with Terrence. I'll come back to you. If you're there, let me know. I know the marketing team should be here any minute now. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing any messages if they're sending me anything. Okay, cool. But yeah, just to hit back on what you were just bringing up, Shanita, the book I was looking at, it's funny. It's called Get That Money, Honey, right?
Oh, okay. Let me write that down.
Yeah. So Get That Money, Honey, and what I feel like she speaks on is just fundraising, period. Like she just talks about that for the whole book is all about fundraising. And it's not just about small fundraisers, or if you will, just the individual fundraiser, but she is talking also about connecting with people who are able to give larger sums of money. But she touches on a lot of things in there that I think is really useful for us, honestly, for any of us, because I know that fundraising is its own kind of effort, but in some ways it's also marketing. I think when we're fundraising, we're letting people know who our organization is, people who don't necessarily know, people who aren't familiar with what we do, and we can use those as great opportunities to go, hey, like this is an example of the work that we're doing. This is what you're contributing to. Just like I feel like when we see some of the commercials on television and stuff, our infomercials even, where it's a longer commercial, but basically an opportunity for people to see what we're up to. And again, you never know who will be moved to give, how much they'll be moved to give to the cause. But that is definitely a resource that I just been going through, and she's been, giving a lot of ideas, not just for some of the videos and stuff maybe that'll be helpful, but also events for the sake of fundraising, because I've heard of galas, but she even mentioned just having some type of dinner sometimes and inviting certain people over with the intentions of them getting to know the organization, what the cause is, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But some really, really good ideas that honestly no one had has spoken to me about outside of from reading the book, and so definitely encourage you to check that one out.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Let me see.
Who's the author of that book?
Let me check. I have it in my phone. It is Rhea Wong. Let me write her name in the chat. RHEA. Wong.
Wong.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so she apparently was working in New York for a nonprofit over there, and so in that process, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, she said that she was doing it for about 15 years,
Mhm.
and so she has a good not only understanding of what her organization did to fare well in that city, but also what other neighboring organizations were doing and how they were raising money and so forth, and so. A lot of good things in there. Cool. Okay. So yeah, before the marketing team does show up, I just want to say that the last time they came by, it was 3 of them. Actually, it was 4 of them at that time. And they spoke to us about everything from the websites to social media, also the other means by which we market ourselves, everything from what we wear. So when we think about our merchandise, how useful that can be for letting people know, oh, there's an organization that does this, or this is what their shirts look like when we see them out and about. The colors that we have that are associated with our brand, the things that we can think about that contribute to the energy and the vibe that we're trying to give off. I think about sometimes like the differences between an Apple store versus I want to say even something like just like Sprint, like Apple, given that they have a phone, they have the computers, but them creating the store, the way that they did sets them apart so much so, just in and of itself. Like, honestly, I'm like, where's the Samsung store, right? Like Samsung, I feel like they're like neck and neck, but in terms of their brand and how they create, if you will, a kind of world, especially at their stores, where people feel like they're in a different place. It almost feels like you're in the future. I feel like all of these things are different ways that we can actively and intentionally think about, how our brand feels to people, how our nonprofit feels when people bring it up. Who are the people that come to mind? What are the images that come to mind? And that should all by some means be, if you will, aligned, whether it's on our website or it's on our social media, or when we go out into the streets and do the type of work that we do, that everyone should kind of be on the same page. And honestly, I think that it can feel like overkill, but when we start to think about how a brand does connect with folks and why it connects with folks, then we can definitely see how having all of those things be consistent can be really important. I think about even certain artists that I follow. Part of the reason why we follow certain artists is because of their work is all kind of like going in the same direction, and we want to connect with that particular energy, those particular lyrics, those particular songs. And I'm sure it was all very well thought out, the marketing campaign, what they call the rollout and so forth. And so what they'll be giving us some good information around is, that consistency and being very intentional about everything that we have that is associated with with our meetings. I'm sorry, not with our meetings, but with our brands and with our organizations. Looks like Terrence is asking a question. Okay, yeah, so yeah, we can't hear you, but you can, okay, you said you can hear everyone yourself. Okay. Well, yeah, actually, Terrence, this is a good way to communicate too. So yeah, if there is an issue with your speaker, we can definitely be reading what you're writing in the chat. So if you do have questions you want to ask, this is a good way to communicate with us. And this is Christina here. Awesome, awesome. And Tanya, good morning, y'all. Good morning. How's it going, Christina?
It's going well. Another gloomy day, but it doesn't look too windy from my side of the city. How are you doing, Jermaine?
I'm good. I'm good. Was just again connecting with them, getting some good updates on where things are and how things are going and been going since the since winter break, and so understanding that the storm has been going crazy in San Francisco, so there's definitely some real impacts that has been having on some of the folks in their work, and so yeah, just getting caught up with everything. I was just letting them know a little bit about what you all had been teaching us last time, and so definitely excited about what you guys are going to be sharing with today. Could you all take a chance, possibly, good morning, Marissa, to do some short introductions by chance?
Yeah, of course. We can actually dive right into it because we have a section for introductions during our presentation. But
Awesome.
I know that folks are dealing with a lot of aftermath of the severe weather in San Francisco or in the Bay Area. So I thank everyone for joining us today. Unfortunately, we weren't able to meet in person due to some of our team members' health issues. So thank you for being flexible and joining us. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. And put it in presentation mode. Okay, is everybody able to view that? Does anyone have any technical issues? Let me move my cursor out of the way. Okay, so good morning, everyone. We are YCD's marketing and communications team. We are a relatively new team. I would like to say YCD has never had a marketing team before us, and we've maybe been established for 2 years. And within the 2 years that we've been with YCD, we saw so much growth already. So we're really excited to share some of the tips and best practices with you all. So my name is Christina Kung. I am the marketing program manager, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Melissa and Tanya.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I am recovering. I don't know what's going on with my body, honestly, but I have been sneezy and I have a little cough. So please forgive me as we get through this presentation. But yes, my name is Marisa, and I'm the social media specialist and outreach coordinator. Just a little background. I graduated from San Francisco State University with my bachelor's in political science and a minor in Africana studies. Just like to plug that in. Tanya.
Hey y'all, I'm YCD's marketing fellow. I'm also, self-described chaos coordinator. So I know y'all got your cups of coffee out there for our presentation, but I'm telling you, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive, and it's definitely going to be really informative to help all of y'all and y'all's business out. My background is in multicultural marketing. I graduated with a degree in marketing about 6 months ago, and I've been with YCD ever since. So I'm super excited to get down with the presentation with y'all. All right, so just to get started, kick it off. I know we're on Zoom, but we imagine this being in person and being a lot more interactive. We want to have y'all pick 2 questions out of this icebreaker and go ahead and just share with the team if you're comfortable. I'm gonna go first just to kick it off. My favorite meal to cook is my Cajun seasoning burger. It's a 12 spice burger. So it's real extra from the bat already, but it's the only food I've ever made that my parents are definitely like, can you make that again? And I'm like, oh, y'all craving this. Okay, we'll get back in the kitchen. All right. So I'm just really excited to have a meal that I'm able to share with family and make from across the world and have them enjoy that. The other question I'm going to pick is the best piece of advice I've ever been given. I'm anemic, so as much as I have a lot of energy, my body's like, no, you don't. So the thing that my dad always tells me is to manage my energy and not my time, because it's 24 hours in a day, but my energy fluctuates throughout the day. So got a lot of energy, get a lot of marketing done. Not got a lot of energy, we're going to drink more coffee or we're going to chill. But that's it for me. Does anyone outside the marketing team want to start it off? Anyone really excited this morning?
Hi, I'll go.
Awesome.
My name is Taisha, and similar to Tanya, am I saying your name right?
Tanya, yeah.
I have a meal that was passed down from my grandmother that my mom, aunties, and like extended family request from me. And we call it baked spaghetti within my family, but it's essentially mac and cheese. But we use like a different noodle. We use a vermicelli noodle, so we call it baked spaghetti because it's a spaghetti noodle and not anyway. So that's the one question. The other question is, what's your proudest accomplishment? For me personally, I battled infertility from a very young age. So my proudest accomplishment was like the day I gave birth to my miracle child that should have never been. So those are my 2 answers. And thank you, ladies, for being here. I love your energy already.
Awesome. Taisha, do you want to popcorn it off to someone else, or does anyone else want to go off?
Oh, sure. Sorry. Shanita,
I'll
it's
go.
on you.
Go for
Yeah.
it.
I just said I'll go too. So if I could write a book, it would definitely be on faith. And I would say my favorite meal to cook would be my Alfredo noodles, fettuccine noodles, one of my faves. Yeah, and that's it. And I'll pass it to Felicia.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Felicia Thibodeau, Executive Director of Southwest Community Corporation and IT Bookman. And if I could write a book, it would be about overcoming many things. So not any one thing, but just stories of overcoming. I think it's very inspirational, especially all that we've been through in the last 3 to 5 years as a community, as a race, as a culture, city, nation, world, yada, yada, yada. And one of my proudest accomplishments is seeing my 2 children graduate college. I thought it was luck the first time, but when I did it the second time, I was really proud about that. And I popcorn it to Terrence.
So I know Terrence his mic isn't working. So Terrence, if you can, okay, here he goes. Cool.
Okay.
Saying the best piece of advice that I have been given is that time waits for no one. And let us know if you are writing the second one, Terrence. Okay, I'm not sure if you're still typing, Terrence, but also let us know too Let me see. Candy, would you be willing to share two of these by chance as well?
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I can't change my name on there. It won't let me. But this is T. Jones, the Executive Director of Necessary Essentials of Life. One of the scariest things I've ever done for fun was went skydiving, and I loved every second of it. If I had a time machine, I would go back in time. I just want to see how it was back in the day, especially for Black people. And I'm complete.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And then, yeah, Terrence says his proudest accomplishment is graduating from Job Corps with a skill and trade, which is definitely real and dope. Candy, can you popcorn it to someone else?
I will give it to, um, let's see, is it Naya? Did I say her name wrong? I'll give it to Miss Naya.
No, that is correct. Thank you. Yes, I would say the first one, my proudest accomplishment was graduating I had got my bachelor's in film. I didn't think it was going to happen, but I was very proud once I once I reached that milestone. The second thing I would say is the best piece of advice I've ever was given is that practice makes perfect, and to never settle for, anything, always try to strive for the best or whatever your best is, And with that, I will send it to Bobby.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Naya, I can't believe that you graduated college. I thought you were in high school, so you look so young. For me to hear that, I'm like, man, I'm getting old.
Really?
Yes, I
Oh my
totally thought
God.
you were younger than that.
Okay.
So that's awesome. And congratulations on that accomplishment as well. My name is Bobby Jones Hanley. I'm the founder and executive director of Pure One. I would say the scariest thing that I've ever done for fun was skydiving. I don't know. I think I was too young at the time when I started doing it to realize that it should have been scary. But after you do it and my body's reaction to it, I realized my body definitely thought it was scary because I was extremely sick and felt like I was going to throw up, but it was still an exhilarating, fun experience. So I did it again. And I would say if I could choose any two people to have dinner with, I would pick Frederick Douglass and probably Viktor Frankl. I'm sure most of you know who Frederick Douglass is, and if you don't know who Viktor Frankl is, he's a Holocaust survivor, wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And I think it's mostly the marketing team is left to popcorn to, so I would say I'll popcorn it to Marisa.
Thank you. Okay. The best piece of advice I've ever been given didn't really come from a person who told me directly, but more so what I read in a book, I think. So Bell Hooks says, what you do is more important than what you say or what you believe. I just feel like that's very powerful. You can say and think all you want, but your actions have to match. And then I picked this one last time, but my answer has changed. So if you could choose any two famous people to have dinner with, who would you pick? I'm still going to pick Prince because I need access to that vault of all his unreleased music. Because why would you hide that from us? And then the second one, just because I got back from Ghana, would be W.E.B. Du Bois. Love to pick his brain. Christina?
Yeah, thank you. I think I would choose what is the best piece of advice someone has ever given me, just because I love sharing this one, just because it's super simple. It's don't complain about something if you're not going to do anything about it. So you can complain all you want, but unless you take action, it doesn't fix things. So it's very similar to the piece of advice that Melissa has just given. It's not what you say, it's what action you do and what action you take. And what superpower would you choose to have and why? I think mine would be to teleport because I love traveling, but I cannot stand sitting on an airplane for 16 hours just to get to a different continent. That's just ridiculous to me. So if I were able to teleport, I think it would save a lot of time. I think the last one is Jermaine. So I'll go ahead and popcorn it over to him.
Awesome. Thank you. Interesting. I was not thinking about my answers this whole time. And so let me go with superpower. If I could choose a superpower, what would it be? I guess I would say energy, because there's so many things that I want to do, so many things I want to do in a day. And I know that I can't do it all. Man, I just wish days were longer, but I know I can't. That's not a superpower, right? But so I go with energy. And then also, I want to say the best piece of advice I've ever been given is asking for help. Ask for help if I need help in something. And I think that what I learned in life, and I learned the person that really taught me that, it's just there isn't an area where we can't ask for help in. There's always somebody that can possibly help us, whether it's at work or whether it's personal stuff. And so, yeah, I would say that's the best advice.
That's awesome. Well, before we head over to the next slide, I want to ask y'all a question. What does marketing look like to you? Just take a second, close your eyes if you want to. What does it look like? Is that a bunch of ads being thrown your way, or an inbox that's really, really cluttered? Is it someone just, stopping you on the street saying, hey, can I have a minute of your time? Is that what marketing looks like to you? Are there other examples that come to your head? Just take a second or two and really visualize that, because I want to demolish that idea that marketing is just that. Even in this conversation that we all just had right now, I saw some skydivers out there. Maybe y'all can go skydiving together. I saw some chefs. I saw folks who have these nuggets of wisdom and this aspect of Black history that they really want to explore if they had the opportunity to time travel. That's commonality. And that's you building a relationship with each other, and us in the marketing team trying to start to build that relationship with you as well. These are honest, surface level, but with the potential to go deeper answers. And if we go over to the next slide, I want to talk about how that translates into marketing communications as a definition. So if we head over to the next, you'll see that for us, the marketing team, we define marketing as not just selling. It's not just, hey, I have this, here you go, this is this information. Because then you're talking at your customers. You're talking at the community. And nobody wants to be lectured at. No one wants to be just spewed with a bunch of different information in that way. What they want is for you to create and demonstrate the value that your organizations bring to them. So it's not just about, does your organization create value? We know that y'all do a lot of great work out there and you're helping the community and you're creating that value, but how do you package that and send that out? How are you communicating how awesome you are? And how are you communicating specifically to your customers in a way that will maintain a long-term relationship, right? These are not just one-off conversations that we want to be having with these folks. We want to have longer-term relationships over time. Because what does that do over time? If we just have this one-off interaction, if you meet the marketing team and we never talk again, our goal is to make sure that at least once have we delivered value to you. Ideally, if we continue to do that, what happens is y'all go on to generate even more value for your organization. And then that ripples out into the community. And that's how you create this long-lasting impact that we know y'all are looking to have within your organization. So get rid of this idea that marketing communications is, I have an event, I'm just going to do one post on Instagram. Because there's a lot more strategy behind it. And if you really consider how you want to push out your ultimate message, people aren't just going to know you for one service that you provide or one thing. They're going to be able to say, your organization does this. Your organization, this is the value. I think of the value respect. I think of the value diversity when I think of your organization. You want to be in the back of folks' head at all times so that when they think of, hey, I have this need, you are at the top of their mind that way. So we're going to give you a little demonstration of how to do that over on the next slide, something we call the elevator test. So let's imagine something else. Let's say that you're at the top of a skyscraper, you're on the 30th floor, right? You're outside the elevator, you're waiting, you got to get down. You look over next to you and you see your dream person. And what I mean by your dream person is someone who has a significant amount of influence for your organization. Now, this could be someone who is someone who you aspire to be. This could be a donor. This could be a potential customer. So let's say you get into that elevator with them. Now, you have about 30 seconds from the top of this building where you have their attention all the way down where they walk out of that elevator on the first floor, you might never see them again. So our question to you and what we want to train you in is, can you deliver that elevator pitch? Can you tell them everything they need to know in a clever and communicative way so that by the time they're out, they're like, oh, awesome. Thank you very much. Here's my business card. Let's have a conversation sometime. So we want to start out with who. Who are you? What does your organization do? And more importantly, what scale and sector are you in? Are you a big company? Are you smaller company? Who do you serve? Who do you communicate your programs to? And if so, what need of theirs are you solving? Because if I know who you are, if you come and tell me, hey, I'm this nonprofit, I say, okay. And if you're able to deliver all of these in about 3 sentences, that 30 seconds, and then you go on and you elevate this pitch, elevate the elevator pitch, you go on by saying what's different about your program, you are effectively positioning your organization in the mind of this person in the elevator with you very specifically. And as a brand, that's what helps someone recognize who you are apart from all the other sea of a lot of great other organizations that are doing good work. And then you give them the so what question. Now, this is best case scenario. You're in the elevator with this person and they're not looking at their phone. They're not thinking about how they're going to get parking once they leave the building. This is assuming you ideally have their attention span for 30 seconds. So the thing that you have to end with is, so what? Do you know who this person is, where you can tailor your last couple sentences to them about why they should care about your organization? Do you have something unique about your organization where you can ask them for something, or even better, you can offer them something and you can start to build that longer term customer relationship that we talked about earlier? So any elevator pitch, it doesn't have to be, my name is this, I do this for this organization. It doesn't have to be robotic in that way. But if you start by filling out this as a sort of template, then you're going to be able to have it flow and have it be a lot more conversational. So when we did this in person, we did an exercise, and I highly encourage y'all to do this in person if you can, with loved ones or your team if they're around. Start from one end of the room, walk to the other end of the room, and have some one time. Imagine that you're walking with this person, you have 30 seconds, and you're delivering this elevator pitch for them. It's extra exercise, you're getting your steps in, but really practice this, how smoothly you're going to bring in that conversation. What if someone interrupts you? Are you still able to make sure you get that information in those 30 seconds? So if you're just communicating out and you have this opportunity, you don't want to fumble the bag. So if you don't know where you're going in this conversation, then it doesn't matter where you go. You're just going to have this opportunity. Then they get out of the elevator 30 seconds later, you don't see them again. But if you have a very focused approach in this first initial, we know that first impressions matter, right? If you have a focused approach when you go and have this first conversation, you're not only positioning yourself in their mind, you're positioning yourself for another opportunity. And you're positioning yourself and your customers and the folks that you provide services for further down the line for that greater opportunity that might come along. This is something great to practice with your own team members as well. do other members of your team accurately represent what you're about, what your company is about, what your nonprofit is about? If so, then you've got a really strong brand identity. That means everyone on your team knows what you're about. And that's what we're looking to try and work for you. So we have an example of something called a position statement that Christina's going to go into.
Thank you, Tanya, for that amazing imagery. I love it every time you paint a picture in my head, and I really just envision myself in it. But I really love this practice because it was something that we at YCD struggled with too. I don't know if you guys are familiar with us, but we are a very vast organization with many programs. I think we have like over 30 and over 100 plus employees. So it was very interesting when we did this activity, even within our own team, and how everyone spoke about the organization so differently. So now that Tanya went over some of the things to include within the position statement, I'm going to give some examples. One is from a nonprofit called PSI. So PSI is a global nonprofit that works to improve the health of the poor and vulnerable in 60 developing nations around the world, combating diseases like HIV and AIDS and malaria that kill millions around the world. PSI saves lives by using the power of private sector to distribute and market health products to the neediest people. So even within this one sentence, they were able to answer all those questions. And we'll translate it to the one we have for our organization. So we are YCD. We're a community-based organization that takes a holistic approach via a delivery ecosystem of services designed to empower residents from cradle to career in achieving economic mobility. So usually I would avoid laundry list of activities. So just keep it simple, consistent, and most of all, distinctive. So make hard choices and focus on the things that you do particularly well within your organization. Marketing is the only job shared by everyone in the organization. So an elevator speech or position statement makes sure that your people have a compelling story and they stick to it and it sticks with your audience. Why don't we take some time to kind of answer these questions so we can formulate a position statement together? So how many minutes? Do you think maybe like 5?
That sounds good. 5 minutes sounds good.
Okay, we could reconvene at 10:18. And feel free to drop questions in the chat if you all have any. We can also assist through this process.
The only thing I want to ask before we get started is there any order that we should try to go in with regard to these questions?
So typically I would introduce the who and what you are first, and then the rest doesn't have to necessarily be in order. Would you prefer me have these questions up or have the example up?
I kind of want to throw it out, let that be thrown out to other folks too. Do you guys have any preference? If you guys can type in the chat or just unmute yourself.
The questions?
Questions are
Okay,
better for me.
gotcha. Okay, just a couple more minutes here. Okay, and just remember this is still a rough draft. You have a lot of time to kind of go over and revise it. Maybe if you hear some of your peers' position statements, it might also inspire you. Um, do we need a couple more minutes or are we ready to start sharing?
Sounds like a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a couple more minutes, I imagine.
Okay, let's get started. Do we have any volunteers that would like to go first? You can drop it in the chat or read it out to everyone.
Sure, I'll go. So as I mentioned before, I'm the founder of Pure One, and we're the only national online reentry support network and resource hub designed by people who are formerly incarcerated that seeks to equip other justice-involved individuals with the tools, resources, and connections they need to successfully transition back into the community after a period of incarceration.
Nice. That answered all the questions. And it's good to know that you guys are the only one that offers your services online.
Yep, that is true.
And Bobby, would you like to popcorn it over to someone?
Sure, I'll popcorn it to Taisha.
Hello. Oh, sorry. I wasn't ready for it to be popcorn to me. Okay. So I'm sorry. I have to rewrite it because like when I write it out, I'm writing it B2B, and I haven't really did it to like really address community issues. So I'm like writing it from like scratch to address community issues. Can I throw it to somebody else and come back to me?
Yeah, of course. Another activity that we can also do is it doesn't have to be formulated into a sentence. It can just answer the questions and then we can work together to create a sentence together.
Okay, well, I can just give you my B2B. So B2B is I'm Taisha Jones. I'm the owner of PostCheck 101. PostCheck 101 is a mobile CPR and first aid training company. We are aligned as a American Heart Association training site and Cal OSHA compliance support firm. We come on site and provide we come on site and provide Cal OSHA compliance certifications. And then I kind of, depending on who I'm talking to, I go into like addressing their particular need or how we could like align with them. If it's construction, hospitality, or healthcare.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
And then would you like to popcorn it over to someone?
Well, I know someone who's really good at this. I would throw it to Miss Felicia.
Thank you, Taisha, but not really good at this, but I'm gonna shoot my shot because I'm learning. I don't have a marketing plan, program, staff, and haven't even thought about it. I think I am the marketer because I'll talk it up, but thank you for your vote of conference. You almost made me swallow my orange.
Sorry, you're welcome.
That's okay. I put Southwest Community Corporation at IT Bookman Community Center, a California not-for-profit for almost 40 years, serving the older adults and adults living with disabilities in the once forgotten community of the Lakeview OMI. Southwest Community Corporation provides access to essential services, nutrition, recreation, and wellness services in a community where there are not many service providers, no grocery store, no business corridor, no postal services, etc. Our services afford our clients to age in community by remaining active, address isolation, and provide a space for recreation. That's all I was able to come up with, FS.
Yeah, that's great. So that is pretty lengthy for a position statement. So usually I would kind of summarize some of the services. I also looked into your Southwest Community Corporation website, and it looks like you have an amazing one on there. So I'm sure you've already developed a position statement. But thank you for sharing. Felicia, would you like to popcorn it over to someone?
May I ask to make a statement, or you want me to? Because a position statement is not a mission statement, right? Or are they one of the same? I may have missed if you said that.
So they are separate. A mission statement shapes like the company's culture and is often used in hiring materials or like on the about page. But the position statement is like the external perception of the brand.
Okay, I'm popcorn. Let me close the chat. I will. Shanita, popcorn too. Yes. You're on mute. You're on mute, my friend. They got me. I got you. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was trying to put this all together so it can flow, but okay. So my name is Shanita. I am the founder of I Am Her, She Is Me breast cancer organization. Here at I Am Me, here at I Am Her, She Is Me, we focus on women that has a diagnosis of breast cancer. We target in the neighborhoods with low income due to the fact that breast cancer is high in our Black communities. Our goals is to encourage and uplift women. We have services, and the services that we provide are wig services for ladies that are going through chemotherapy. And also we provide prosthetic bras to women that cannot afford reconstruction or that are waiting for surgeries to be reconstructed. I'm still trying to get it all together, the flow and everything. So let me know, help me out, you guys. Let me know what I need to work on or target on.
No, that's great. Thank you everyone for sharing. I comprehend better when I like read things. So if you want to drop it in the chat or email us, and we can go ahead and take a look at your position statements and then provide any feedback later on as well. Okay.
Let's popcorn it to Candy.
I think Candy got moved off of the call somehow. Has someone not gone yet?
Yeah, I think Candy has left the call. So
All right.
maybe Terrence? I know Terrence's mic isn't working, so we'll give him some time to drop it in the chat.
While Terrence is typing in the chat, I just want to say that was a great first draft, y'all. I know that seems like a lot to try and do. Don't worry about getting it perfect. In fact, all of y'all had at least something in the 30 seconds. A really good exercise to do is maybe just kind of brain dump everything you want to say about your organization, and it might be 2 minutes long. Then make it, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, and you can whittle it down. Because remember, this is just, hey, I got a quick opportunity. Do I have something that eventually I can just pull from muscle memory so that I don't miss out on this opportunity? It's just that introduction. You have plenty of time later to go and expand about all the awesome work that you do afterwards. And for those of y'all that were talking about making sure you tailor it to whoever you're speaking to at the end, it's good to be able to do that, especially if you know who you're talking to and you can have a little hook. This is something that works in personal branding as well. Just mention like an important detail, something unique, something like kind of quirky even, or a little bit out of place. So it helps someone connect to you better. Like if I know that you have a golden retriever, I'm going to be super excited because I have a golden retriever and I'm going to connect with you on that. It's a really small detail, but I'll be able to really jump on that with you. So if you want to end off your statements with something, and if you're still not sure who you're talking to, tell them and offer something that you connect to people on. Do you connect to people on books or reading, or does your organization specifically have this value in their company? Because if I resonate with that value, I'm going to be hooked at the end. And then there's also a hard mode version of a position statement where imagine that someone's in this elevator with you, but they're on their phone. Now you're just talking at them, right? But if you say something important to them, they look up from their phone. So what is that important look up from my phone detail that you could include in your position statement, right? And Christina was right. Your mission statement is what you're striving to do, right? What your organization's actual purpose is, but your position statement is you telling someone, hey, this is the space I occupy in the world. This is what I specifically focus on. There's a bunch of people out there doing a bunch of things, but this is what I'm doing. This is what my organization is doing. So that's all. It's just about shooting your shot, and this is a great first attempt.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to switch it up every now and then, like similar to what Tanya said. Really cater it to the person you're talking to. And this isn't something that's set in stone, so don't worry about formulating it perfectly. Just write down all the thoughts that you have to each question, and then you can narrow it down from there and really pick and choose and see what you can categorize together to make it flow better.
May I ask a quick question before I jump off?
Yes.
When, I talked about our services, and there's a lot of great nonprofits that provide great services all over. I really wanted to hone in that there are not any service providers in our community, and that's what makes it different, that we don't have a grocery store, a postal services, a two business corridor. And so just using the word marginalized doesn't always speak to that. So I know I could eliminate a lot of those words and say in a marginalized community, but when you realize there's no grocery, no postal services, no business merchants, that's a different look than just being a poor community. And so I did hear you that it's too long, but that's what I'm always trying to hype up. I'm born and raised in Bayview. I work in Lakeview, and people often, when they start talking about Black communities, but I'm from Bayview. I could go to Food Co, Super Save, Lucky's. Here in Lakeview, I can't go anywhere. I can go to two postal services on 3rd Street, but in here I got to go 2.5 miles. So I'm trying to find the wording that really talks about on an island within a city, and maybe that's what it is. But I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you guys so much for this, and I'm so sorry I have to go, but I'm gonna pop back in just as soon as I can.
Yeah, thank you, Felicia, for sharing. It says Terrence has raised his hand.
Terrence, is your hand still raised from before?
Well, to continue, I definitely resonate with what Felicia has mentioned. She's completely right. Even though it is lengthy, it really does paint the picture that she's trying to convey. And I think similar to what we said before, it really caters to the person you're talking to. So in order for someone to really understand what you're trying to transcribe, it is important to include those details. So thank you for elaborating. And I think Terrence dropped his position statement in the chat. So I'll go ahead and read it. T. Silas Foundation, we empower the Bayview Hunters Point community through education, events, and training programs.
Just one last point for Felicia. There are in groups and out groups, right? Imagine if you're talking to someone who knows exactly who you are and what you do and why you do it. There's a word that you would use to describe that folks in that community absolutely know what you're talking about. So if you're a person of color, you absolutely know what a version of discrimination feels like. You have that commonality. There is going to be someone else who might not have had that same experience, where you might have to use a different word. So if you want to start with that in group, make sure the people in your community who already know what you're talking about, what words resonate with them. And then is there another word, or at least a synonym of some sort, that translates to an out group? So if you're trying to find a donor from a local organization, a statewide organization, they might not specifically know what's happening in Lakeview and specifically know what your organization is doing within their community, but how does that resonate with them in a broader sense? So you can go specific, and then you can go a little bit more general. Hopefully that's helpful.
Okay. So moving on, we're just curious how you all interact with your customers. This is a super general question. We're just curious to say what you all respond with. So it could be word of mouth, it could be through your website or through your social media platforms, through advertising, I don't know, on newspapers, whatever it is. Feel free to drop it in chat. So we have a face-to-face, so mouth-to-mouth interactions, a word of mouth. Okay. Through Instagram. Nice.
Hi, I do Facebook and Instagram ads. I do Instagram, Facebook posts. I have a website. We do marketing at different public venues and a couple of.
Okay, and we also have through website and telephone, getting ready to do webinars. Awesome. Okay. Now that we have a general idea of how you all interact with your customers, I'm going to dive into the power of storytelling and the importance of marketing within our field of the nonprofit realm. So nonprofit storytelling refers to stories often involving real people or situations. Sorry, I got a notification. Through Facebook, Instagram, flyers, and events. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. So nonprofit storytelling refers to stories often involving real people or situations told by nonprofits to advance your particular cause. It's a marketing tactic that the nonprofit sector uses to create emotional connections with its audience. So this makes their audience more likely to take action, learn more about your mission statement, and such as like donating and volunteering or even spreading the word. So a marketing plan is a clear, actionable roadmap to strategically promote your organization. It conveys your mission and also increases like your fundraising success, encourages listeners to take action. Next, we'll dive into like a perfect example of how storytelling and marketing has helped this organization.
Okay, so right before we get there, we're going to talk a little bit about testimonials. Testimonials are stories and quotes, and they're some of the most powerful tools that you can have on hand as a nonprofit organization. You need physical proof to show that you're engaging in the work, and it's important to show how your work is impacting the community directly. Testimonials can be in the form of video, audio, and pictures. So just a few tips to keep in mind when you are collecting these stories, just because a lot of us do work with a vulnerable community. We want to stray away from exploiting these people and making sure we're using them to to keep the mission going, essentially, and not just for our own personal gain for our organizations. So we want to collect stories ethically and with permission. No one in community should be seeing their face on your website or your Instagram and be surprised about that. They should know ahead of time, and they should give you their full permission to use their words and their face. And, you're giving them a sense of agency over their own words and their face and how all of that is being used. And that's really important. Make sure to focus on a specific service that you provide to that impacted the individual in a positive way. So instead of having someone talk generally about the organization, it helps to get those details in, right? So someone can talk about how the book club that they participated in impacted them by providing them with new vocabulary words, or if it's a political education book club with new tools that they can bring in and be more politically involved. Yeah, so that's better than using like a general like format. Like this organization was fantastic. Let's get the details. And with those details, you can get negative feedback sometimes. The best thing to do with that is to just take it on the chin and try to do better. A way that you can flip negative feedback is to reframe it. So let's say someone was a part of the book club, but felt like the facilitators weren't creating a space where everyone felt comfortable enough to talk, right? That's a piece of like what we would say negative feedback. A statement that you can make once you fix the issue is, you know, we heard feedback from the community that we weren't creating space for everybody to speak. So now what we're doing to ensure that everyone feels safe enough to talk, we're doing A, B, C, and D. And we'd like to thank our community for being open and transparent with us. So that shows that not only are you open to receiving negative feedback, but you care enough about the community and what they have to say to make those changes and to pivot for them. Because at the end of the day, this is who we're doing it for. And then just be honest and transparent. Like, people can tell, at least I can tell when I am on a website and it just seems like there's no face to the quotes, like the positive feedback on the website. And I'm like, well, I don't believe that. That could come from anywhere. So just being honest and transparent with your audience regarding your services and the impact that it could, that impact that you're making on your community. Because the thing is that the people are going to find out anyway, especially if you're like in tune with the community. People are going to find out anyway, and you don't want to be looking some type of way on Instagram and building yourself up to be this like champion of the community, and lo and behold, like you're doing other grimy stuff. So it's always best to be honest and transparent with folks, even as you're making your way through conflict and negative feedback. Any questions, comments there? Anything to add? Okay, perfect. And now we'll go on to an example. So I don't know if y'all are familiar. She actually made her way out to San Francisco this week, and she was working with City Eats. But if you can, pull out your device, your phone, or you could even do a quick Google search. Her name is Beauty to the Streets. 4.8 million followers on TikTok. That is a lot of people. 335K on Instagram. Not too many subscribers on YouTube because she doesn't post as frequently on there. And then 500 patrons on Patreon. And Patreon is a subscription service where you could sign up on different like tier levels. To like, you'll just contribute every dollar amount every month, and depending on the tier is that's the type of content that you'll get from the specific creator. So I'll read the blurb that she has on her Patreon. Beauty to the Streets started off fully funded by her own pocket. She'll be the first to tell you she isn't rich, but what she has, we all have. Between herself, her team, friends, family, and the kindness of strangers, she's able to not only feed 400 plus people, but also offer showers, hair wash, and color, makeup, wigs, and most importantly, connection. By documenting the real people that she serves, the conditions they live in, and making that human connection, she's brought a new sense of awareness to the epidemic of homelessness. As with any action, there is a reaction, both positive and negative. People are quick to judge, but Shirley doesn't see this as a challenge, instead as a chance to evolve and improve. People of Skid Row are just like everyone else. They are people who have fallen on hard times, who didn't have that lifeline to pull them out. Shirley is a beacon of hope in LA's ever-increasing homeless population. Every Saturday, rain or shine, she and her team come out to share a hot home-cooked meal, conversation, and most importantly, connection. That just is a great way to kind of sum up all of what she does, but I feel like you can't really get the full impact of her and her team, like just from this. Like, you have to go and watch her videos. And so what drew her to me, maybe months ago, a year ago, I can't remember the first time I saw a video of hers, but she was working out of her car and delivering meals, and would have like a camera recording on one end every interaction that she has, whether it was positive or negative. That was something that drew me towards her, because she wasn't afraid to, she didn't shy away from the from some of the more I wouldn't say negative interactions, but you know, as we are humans, we all have bad days, right? Like, exactly, she kept it real. We all have bad days. There were people that came to her for services, for food, and maybe were a little bit snappy or rude in the moment, and that happens to all of us. Okay, there is no like way that we should expect houseless people to act, right? And I feel like she kind of breaks that that mold that they should be grateful or appreciative or whatever, when at the end of the day, they're human beings who are going through something that's really hard. And so what I love that she's able to do is to show how empathy and love can be so powerful. And that's something that I feel like we don't often see when we're viewing videos of people giving food and clothing to houseless folks. We often just see like, oh, okay, they're dropping off the food and they're going about their merry way, or they're taking pictures with people, right? And instead, she chooses to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so from there, from her car, she's grown. And I believe now they have a truck that like posts up in different areas of California, and they're able to give out so much more, because people are like, what you're doing is not only very much needed, but in the way you're doing it, it speaks to people. So this is a great, fantastic example of someone who keeps it real, and gives us a great picture of what they're able to do as an organization. So depending on how you want people to view your organization, you might not want to go this route where you're showcasing everything. The more transparent you are, the more that you open yourself up to criticism, as she mentions in her in the blurb. But in general, for storytelling, it is important to be relatable, educational and memorable. So yeah, any questions about that? Yes, I'm glad folks are familiar with her work. She, did great. Amazing. Snaps, chef's kiss, all of those things. Yes, Naya?
Okay, I have a question on, so you talked about keeping it real and being honest with your audience, but I wonder how you can also keep boundaries, because I know there's ways where you kind of feel that your identity is part of Instagram, and without it, you're nothing. And I guess like that can lead to like putting out personal information or things that you shouldn't. So I wonder what's the first start on like keeping boundaries, so you don't have to just keep things business, but keep it honest and real at the same time.
Yeah, I'd say, Tanya.
I was gonna let you go first. Go respond. And I'll hit back after.
Honestly, I don't think it was a well thought out response. Really, I was just gonna say like, ensure that you are keeping yourself organized in regards to what you post and what you don't post. Like, if you don't, the thing is that in the age of the internet, like if your face is out there, people are going to find out who you are and what you do if they really want to. Like it just happens that people get, may get doxxed like that. So, I don't know. That's a tough question for me to answer, but Tanya.
I mean, one thing I wanted to say is your personal social media is your personal social media, and anything you put out on the internet has a 100% rate of being found. So, with like Marisa said, just keep that in mind. In terms of your organization's social media and your organization's, we call them channels or your platforms. Consider this: you and your organization. Imagine that there are two people. If your organization was a person, you are friends with that person. You are someone who can act as a representative of that person. You might share similar values. And that's where your position statement and your mission statement really comes in handy, because it's like a friend, right? You can call out your friend on something that they're doing and you can let them know, like, hey, maybe we weren't true to this value that we have, or maybe we weren't actually being a good friend, or being a good provider of a service to our customers in this way. But that's separate from you. So where your customers or your community calls you out on something, if you feel like, yeah, you know what, we've talked about having this value of being equitable to our customers and our service, who we're providing our services to, and we're not really doing that, yeah, that's the L for us. But if you know what you stand for and you feel like folks are calling you out on something that isn't true, again, if your organization was a person, would they take a stand for that? That's another way that you can consider that. And you really do have to weigh the pros and cons of, do I want to delete a comment? Do I want to respond to a comment? Is it worth my time? But if your organization has a really strong identity in and of itself, again, imagining it as a person, then imagine it as a really tough person who knows exactly what they're about, right? They're vulnerable and they're willing to listen to that feedback, but they also know what they stand for very clearly, to the point where they can set that boundary, where they can say, refer back, hey, my organization stands for this, and I don't necessarily agree with the fact that you see this, but I understand your point. And as long as you make someone feel heard, that's the best that you can hope for on the internet, truly. Hopefully that helps with that boundary setting. And definitely, logging off, setting those specific times that you want to be on the internet for, and then afterwards saying, I'll handle it tomorrow. Time heals all.
That's true. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. Or thank you both.
Yeah, just to close out, I'd say that storytelling, with regards to storytelling, yes, it is important to document what you do. I took a look through a few of the Instagram accounts that y'all run, and I think that y'all do a great job of documenting exactly what it is that you do. But it is also important to show how what you're doing impacts people. So we could get more people's faces talking about, with the CPR classes, right? Like how maybe that, and we want to be careful not to like re-traumatize people as they're talking about their experiences as well. But find a good balance of how the skills that they learned in a class or in a workshop, they've been able to utilize in their real life and how it's impacted them.
Yeah, I know most times we're so focused on doing the actual work, we kind of overlook getting results from folks. So something that we practice doing is creating like a testimonial request or testimonial form. We have our customers or clients and community members fill out this general, short and brief Q&A, and optional if they want to include their photos or include like a video testimony. And oftentimes it's not always positive, and sometimes it's negative, but that's just part of doing the work. And we take in that information and we see how we can move forward from there and how we can improve. So thank you, Marisa, for going over that. Next, we'll move on to a different type of marketing that isn't necessarily storytelling. We did have a request from Jermaine to kind of go over how to promote for events. Obviously, there are many different ways, but the primarily form of promotion that YCD utilizes is creating flyers. And we'll blast this all over our social media platforms, as well as get them printed and put it all around our offices, community hubs, and even like sending it personally to folks who we might think is interested. So I'll go over some of the best practices when creating event flyers. You'll be surprised if you make it really appealing and it draws to your attention, you'll get a lot of results. Just in comparison to what we've been doing in the past, where we've created flyers where it's just like a bunch of information and it's like really difficult to read. We don't get as much participants applying or participating in the event just because it's just too busy. So I'll go over some of the changes we've implemented. And first is to have a call to action. So for example, this is an important piece of content that you produce with the intent to get people to do something. So oftentimes it could be like, oh, join us or participate in this. But for this one specifically, we created a flyer for our Warriors Kickoff Orientation. We have a program within YCD that hires college students or young adults to kind of work seasonally or part-time. Also avoid using too much information, get really straight to the point. We just include, you know, the date, the time, the location, a contact information, and what will be covered during this event. And if you have more information that you would like to include, you can always create a QR code. We could go through all the steps on that later and dive deeper on how to do these things if you'd like during our workshop session. And optimize for the web and social media. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know, they all accept different image sizes. We use a program called Canva. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with that, but that's the primary tool that we utilize to create these flyers. We can also go through a little tutorial later as well. When using this tool, it'll allow you to like cater to the size of your flyer or post depending on which platform you want it to utilize. And so keep the user experience in mind. So to this point, when creating an event flyer, we should be aware of the purpose of it. Who are we really trying to reach out to and why? A good event flyer isn't just like a vehicle for information. We should be also aware of the experience that people have with it. So how does the flyer make them feel, and are they getting the information that they need from it? So for example, in this one in the background, we utilize this like a photo of the team. I think it's like, it really draws folks' attention to it, especially those who are Warriors fan. So your poster should be like attention grabbing and also like very easy to skim. Like if they look over it, they can like get information that they need from it. So it ensures that you're creating like a visual hierarchy, ranking information in order of importance. So you can do this by using big headlines and also like grouping information into sections of text that can be easily digested by your audience. And the common mistake that like most people make when tackling like a visual project is adding way too many colors. We usually like to stick to a color scheme, like our brand colors. So if someone ever like looked at a flyer and they see our like YCD teal color, they'll automatically know, oh, this is a YCD event, or this is information that has been posted by YCD. So any color scheme that is accompanied by like your brand. You can also consider like using different shades within like one color while still like staying within your color scheme. And like I said, you could promote this flyer on multiple platforms. Don't be afraid to, you know, send it out through email or through newsletters as well. And did anyone have any questions about like creating event flyers and best practices?
Just a quick question on that particular flyer.
Mhm.
When you have, I mean, I'm always thinking about like copyright infringement issues.
Mhm.
And I know like I use Canva also.
Mhm.
If there is, but using like, if you say you found a template on Canva or something that had something, well, I guess on Canva it would be okay, but is that like, where's my question? I'm just curious, like, for that particular flyer, would you guys have to get permission to be able to use the Warriors on that particular flyer, or because they're public figures and it's a public image, are you guys able to use it?
So it depends. Oh, that's a really great question, Bobby. It depends on the images, and obviously there are copyright infringements. And usually when we work with partners, when we're creating like an event, they usually send us their branding toolkit and how like a set of rules or standards that we're allowed to use. And usually we'll ask them if a certain photo is all right, and we'll get approval from them first before utilizing any image. I wouldn't really suggest like searching for image online, just because that could be stealing from someone's ownership of it. So I usually just dive through my own archive of photos that we have on hand, or anything Canva provides, because anything that's on Canva, it's free for everyone to use.
All right, thank you. That's what I use. That's what I was gonna say. I use Canva and like Shutterstock, and so I always look at that. But I was just curious, like when you're dealing with like, because I didn't see on this particular image that they were involved. Like this was a partnership, and so that's why I was like, okay, well, it looks like you were just using the name of Warriors, and then using that background image to highlight, you know, the actual Warriors, right, and to relate to people in San Francisco. So I just wasn't sure if that was something that would cross that line or that boundary if there wasn't a partnership already like in place with the Warriors per se.
Yeah, that's an extremely good point. But yeah, specifically for this event, it was a hiring event for the Warriors, so the Chase Center. And also, Tanya made a really great point to give credit to whoever the photo took, or whoever took the photo, or note the person who took it. We often do that as well with some of the facts that we post for certain like holidays. We like to cite and give credit where it's due. Okay, and for those who aren't familiar with Canva, we can also take some time to kind of walk you guys through the process, but Bobby's already familiar with it. So let me know if anyone else is interested to hearing about this. So Canva is free for users, but if you want to use more of their like advanced tools or extra add-ons, then you would have to pay like a monthly subscription fee. But if you all wanted to create an account, it's free for everyone to use, and they have great templates on there, and it makes designing and creating flyers and posts, presentations, like our presentation here is created through Canva, super easy.
All right, cool. Now, this is, I think, my favorite part of marketing, just because it's a full comprehensive overview of anything and everything that you can do when it comes to marketing. So let me ask y'all something. On a not rainy day like this, if y'all walked out onto the street, went about your normal day, how many different ads, or what we call touch points, which is a time when a company interacts with a consumer, how many different touch points do you think the average person experiences in one day? Throw out a number, you know, type something in the chat, unmute for a second, just any number. Too many. True. 50. Okay. Maybe one more guess. 1,000. All right. I'm gonna blow y'all's mind. 30,000 in one day. And you're probably like, what? I don't even remember half of that. You might not. But the thing is, marketing is all around us in that way. So if we focus ourselves in the center, we have two broad sections of marketing. We have online and offline marketing. So if we start out with online, we have our really sort of obvious aspects of marketing. We have social media, right? I can put out an Instagram about something, put out a tweet about something. People know about it. I'm telling them about this event. I'm telling them about my business. You have websites, right? Some of y'all have your own websites, or you're in the process of working on your own websites. We'll tell you all about a couple of tools to be able to use these different channels and platforms. The websites are a great option to have everything as like a one-stop shop and to have it be online. Another thing is called SEO, which is a little newer of a marketing term, but can be really, really important for, hey, I'm a consumer, or I'm someone who's in need of a service. If I search for certain words that relate to your service, can I find you? And also, do I make myself as an organization easy to be able to be found? is a really important aspect of marketing. So we call that search marketing, and SEO stands for search engine optimization. So if you use a search engine like Google or Bing, if someone types your name, your organization's name, do your socials pop up? Does a contact or does contact information for your organization pop up? That's really helpful to consider within your broader marketing toolkit. Then you've got different events that you have online, like this webinar that we're having right now. Do you have an email address or a business email inbox that someone manages? And then over on your offline side, you have, physical handouts, flyers, brochures, one-pagers. You have word of mouth, which Marisa already touched on, with testimonials. That can be really important, as much as, hey, did you hear about this? That's the oldest form of marketing, right? Literally just, hey, do you know about this? Have you heard? What's in the news? Then you have branding overall, which a really key aspect of that is your messaging. And we've already started to work on that a little bit with that position statement from earlier on. So you can see how we're building on your marketing skills already. But the more that you improve on that messaging, the more messages that you have, the more that you can find those similarities. And that exponentially grows into a brand. Because one message is one thing. Can you reiterate that same message in 100 different ways and tailor it to 100 different people so that they all feel heard? That's a great aspect of offline marketing. Then you've got your merch. We at YCD, we have some merch that we put out. If someone who isn't affiliated with your brand, doesn't know anything about your organization, if they see, little logo somewhere, cool little hat, do they vibe with that? Is that something they want to ask you about, or ask someone else about, like, hey, like, that's a cool thing. Can I go and represent that same brand, right? How many of us own like Nike, or we own like a pair of Jordans or something? That says something about us. That's that we want to be affiliated with that brand, that we like the values of that brand, that we like resonate with that energy. And in that same way, you want people to not only know about your services, but experience them, have a great positive interaction, and then kind of want to rep you a little bit. And your own team can be a great aspect of doing that. I'm wearing merch for my old university right now, actually. So perfect example of that. And that resonates to show that I'm a proud alumni. And you want people to be proud of the fact that they had an opportunity to participate with your services. And then you have PR. And this is what I think Felicia mentioned this just before she hopped off. Y'all are not necessarily marketers. You are absolutely representatives of your brand. If anything, you are probably, as the leads and the heads of most of them, you are the top representative of your brand. But you're not necessarily a marketer. Some of y'all might be one person marketing teams. Some of y'all might have, 2 or 3 folks helping you out. Maybe you have a whole team behind you. You want a bunch of different folks who are able to specialize in each of these different channels if you have that capacity, if you have the time, if you have the funding and the budget for it. But you want to make sure that everyone who interacts with someone on behalf of your brand, that they're working really hard to establish that relationship, that long-term relationship with your customers, and know what your public image is. Privately and internally within your team, you might you know all about the goings on, but do people outside of your team, of who you are internally, know about that? We heard that some of y'all have been featured in some media recently. Like, that's a great example of getting good PR, of getting that notoriety and having news be put out about you. So the biggest thing I want to highlight about this is a lot to be doing. This is a lot for even us to be doing. We're a 3-person marketing team. We don't have to use all of these different channels. But the thing is, when we talk about those touch points, those 30,000 touch points, if I want to get a message across to you, I have to, how many of y'all have had an annoying ad be shown to you on like YouTube? Or you walk past a billboard that just annoys you every day. It doesn't matter what it is. But you remember that, right? Because you interacted with it, whether you recognize it or not, 100 times. It takes that long sometimes to really get that message out. So by having multiple different channels, if I just handed someone a flyer and, they walk away, they never see me again, that was one opportunity I had and I missed it. That's fine. It's a shoot your shot basis. But if they then go and hear about my organization, or if they then go and see it on social media, if they attend an event that just so happens to be, sponsored by my brand, or have an affiliation with my organization, then I get to, sort of chip away at that. And the biggest thing you want to do is, instead of not being in someone's mind at all, be at least in the back of their mind. maybe towards the middle of it. They're doing other things in their day, but they still know who you are. Or at the top of your mind, of the top of their mind. Because if they're like, I need this service, if they have you at least in the back of your mind, then it's not a fully new thing that you're introducing to them. If I say, oh, I need a doctor, right? And I want to go and search up some doctors in the area, I want to go check out with my insurance, who's available. If I have a friend recommend someone to me, or if someone was already telling me about something in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, cool. That's at least a little bit familiar. That's at least something I can relate to a bit more instead of, here's this person, or I don't know anything about them. I don't know if I can trust them. And you want to make sure you can build your trust with everyone. So the best thing you can do right now, right after this webinar, really consider what are going to be your most effective channels. Again, not all of these are going to work out. You don't necessarily need all of these right now, but focus on the ones that are going to have the most impact. That might be word of mouth, to really be in community and make sure that when people talk about you, they're saying this keyword, they're mentioning this brand value, they're mentioning this positive experience. Or is it on social media? Because you really want your message to spread, all throughout Bayview, all throughout San Francisco, maybe the Bay Area, internationally, if you so choose to. But you want to make sure that you're choosing those things that could have the biggest impact. Now, the other thing, I just want to go back on search marketing again for a second. If you have an organization and if someone looks you up on, let's say Google, that's the most well-known search engine. If they then get your social media, if they then find out what your email is, they see an opportunity to buy merch. What you're doing is, instead of just one-time touch points, you're poking them from all angles, right? You're helping them lead from one aspect of getting to know you to another, to another, to another. And it's just like that elevator pitch that we talked about. It's that introduction. So you want to make sure that no matter which one of these is first, right? If they see a piece of merch, if they attend an event, if they go and hear something great, word of mouth. If that's their first interaction with your brand, you want to make sure it's a positive one. So that's why doing too much all at once, you're going to lose focus. And if you pick, let's say 2 or 3 for an hour, maybe 2 or 3 that you're already doing, you can make sure that you have a really, really strong focus so that you can sustainably grow your marketing. And eventually, when y'all are super successful and you're doing amazing, amazing, wonderful things like you already are, you can even grow your marketing team where you can hand that off to someone who is able to represent your brand, if not better than you, at least just as good, because you know your brand really great now. And the greatest opportunity to be able to display how much you've grown as an organization is being able to hand that off, because that means there's someone who you've trained. There's someone who you're able to communicate what your organization is really well. And that's how even we at YCD have done it, right? We've grown exponentially during the pandemic to over 150 employees. And we're working on as the marketing team right now and making sure that all of those different employees who are already in community doing great work every day, that when they talk about the great work they're doing every day, we're consistent in that messaging. We might be specific to, we have our SEMV vehicle providing services in the community this way. We have folks at Black to the Future doing great services in this way. But they're talking about it in that same way. And that means the first time anyone hears about it, they're like, cool. And the second time they hear about it, they're like, that's interesting. Third time they hear about it, they're like, I want to get involved. So you want to think about that pipeline that you're creating, but just start small. Just pick a couple for now, and maybe we have a priority list. That way, when we come to you as the marketing team, we say, hey, what do you want to work on? What are your biggest marketing priorities right now? We can help you tackle that step by step. And it could be as simple as teaching you how to use Canva, like we're going to do next in a hot minute. Or it could be as simple as helping you set up a business email, something you might not have. So just making sure that you have all of those together. We'll head on over to the next slide where we really go deeper into a couple of these channels.
Okay, thank you so much, Tanya. Again, like Christina said, every time you talk, I'm like, I learned something new every time. She really is the marketing expert on this team. So we're going to go through these pretty fast just because Jermaine told us that y'all already have a good working knowledge of the way that all these apps work. So yeah, social media platforms allow us to connect with people from all around the world. choose a platform or multiple. I'd say that if you're just starting out, the best one maybe to get on is probably Instagram. Like everybody uses Instagram. And then Facebook next, because they can work hand in hand. You can literally post the same, you can use Facebook's posting, I forget what the words, like it's a publisher, to post both on Instagram and Facebook at the same time. So yeah, master those and start consistently posting to get the best results. Sharing the work that you do on social media can build trust within your community. So some pros: free advertising and increased brand awareness. Even the advertising that you do pay for isn't too expensive. I think we've spent maybe like $100 on a campaign once to go for a couple of days, and it definitely increases views and interactions. It's easy to interact with customers / clients / community, and it builds trust. You can answer questions directly on there, and just interact with folks directly as well. It also provides data that can help you tailor your content and services. So both Instagram and Facebook, you can find their analytics on Facebook's tool. So you can look and see what posts are working for you and what posts aren't. Tailor your what you do post and come up with new ways to be more interactive and engaging through that information. So some cons: possible negative publicity / brand perception. Everybody has something to say these days. Everybody has an opinion. And that's definitely true when it comes to social media and what you post on there. So just keep in mind that you will have trolls. You need to constantly be keeping up with trends. There's like these high-end like brands like Sony, or I don't know, like pick any random big brand that will be on top of the trends, like on Twitter, like the micro trends. If they're tapped into like Black Twitter, they're going to get a viral tweet off of something that we created. So just keeping an eye out on what's popular so that you can tap in if you need to. If that's not your thing, that's cool as well. Content creation is time consuming. Yes, especially for people who don't really do it like on their own. If you're not a big poster on your own social media, getting into the habit of creating content can be a little taxing. And then long-term planning is difficult. You can plan for holidays and celebration weeks, celebration months, and things like that. But in regards to certain events that happen in the community, you kind of have to be like on, sometimes you can't schedule that. Events aren't often happening annually or monthly. For the ones that are, you can plan for those, but yeah, sometimes it's not that easy. Next slide, please. So yeah, social media, Instagram is best for photos and videos. Reels have taken off in like the last year or so. Like they want to be TikTok so bad, and they're doing a great job. The Reels are really popular. You can post like the shorter the better. I'm seeing. So a 7-second video of something that's aesthetically pleasing with a trending sound is often going to get you a lot of engagement. You can post text graphics that are educational, inspirational, and you can post memes as well. You can have a little key. Facebook is best. Videos are best. Entertaining content is best, and informational content is best on Facebook. The biggest thing with these apps is that if your content isn't like controversial, sometimes like people will not like bite. These algorithms are made to push things that will make people angry. We've seen that through the previous elections and just certain political events that have happened in the last few years, and it's definitely they're making money off of making people mad. So I would just keep that in mind as you're posting on there. Twitter, very text heavy. Twitter's going through a lot right now with Elon, but it's still, I feel like, remains the same. Very text heavy. You can purchase now a verified blue check mark, if that means anything to anyone in this room. I don't think it does. But if you wanted to do that, you could. And it takes a while to build a following. Whereas on, Instagram and Facebook, a lot of times people use their face or content that revolves more around like pictures and videos to gain followers that way. People will get followers through just looking pretty. Whereas on Twitter, you have to be educational or funny, or you have to be like an expert in your field or something, or just a consistent tweeter. LinkedIn is more for professionals, longer text posts that are inspirational and motivating, career, jobs, and networking focused. The big thing on there is thought leaders, and then we use it often to update folks on like what the organization is doing. So companies will just put company news, like updates, what we've got going on, and showcasing different stories of employees on there as well. Email marketing is a powerful marketing tool, a form of direct marketing as well as digital marketing that uses email to promote your business's products or services. It can help make your customers aware of your latest items or offers by integrating it into your marketing automation effort. So this is a definition from MailChimp, and we use MailChimp for our newsletter. And I've used it in like outside of work as well. And it's a great way to keep folks updated about what you're doing, whether you have a bi-monthly newsletter or a monthly newsletter or even quarterly. It keeps people updated without them having to like go to your social media. Everybody has an email too. So some pros for emails: it's affordable. Yes, great for donation campaigns as well. Thank you, Christina. The pros: it's affordable and customizable. You can establish relationships with clients and funders. It provides data that can help you tailor your content and services, similar to social media, and you can drive donations. Cons: emails can be impersonal and very sales driven. I know if I'm getting an email, I'm going to get an email every day from like Fenty Beauty, or an email every day from like some subscription service. Like that is just irritating. So we'll stray away from congesting people's inboxes. So another con is congestion. Yeah, everyone is sending emails every minute of the day. And email creation is time consuming as well. Now, websites. One of the most rewarding benefits of a great website is that it can help you clearly and effectively communicate essential information about your organization. People are more likely to trust an organization that has an official website, and this is very true. I know when I'm looking on Instagram and I find something like a product that I like, or some sort of organization that I think is cool that only operates off of Instagram, I feel like I'm less likely to engage if they don't have a website. And I know that's true via the research that we've done as well. So pros: easy customization depending, I believe it's supposed to say depending on what type of platform you use. So there is Squarespace, which I know is pretty easy for customizing your website. But when you get into the other ones that I don't even know the names of, that deals with coding. I don't know how to do that. I don't know a lot of people that know how to do that. So people often will hire companies to create a website for them. Because it's just too time consuming to hop on that to learn yourself, although that can be a valuable skill. All of your information lives on the website. There's no character or image limits, and there can be a seamless donation process. Now, cons: costly, again, depending on what platform you're using and if you're going to hire someone to create a website for you. Creating a really good website is also time consuming. Email creation is not supposed to be on there, so we're just going to act like it's not there. Just from the last slide. Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, any questions on any of that before we move on? And we kind of sped through that, but y'all know. Okay.
Perfect.
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to just reiterate the part you were mentioning about the the importance of the website, because I agree with you that if I run into a company, especially if I actually want to buy something, and I can only buy it on Instagram or they have no other presence. It just makes you be like, is it real? Like, are they gonna send it? Are they dependable? Are they reputable? Because we all know that there's a lot of scams out there, period. And so we just know that since that's real, it's one of those things that just lets people know that no, it's not just like an Instagram page. It is something that it has a website, and because it has a website, it makes it feel much more reputable.
Yeah, definitely.
How's everyone?
No worries.
Do we need to take a little bio break just to have everyone grab something to eat or something to drink? I know it's a pretty lengthy presentation. Yeah, let's go ahead and take like a 5-minute breather and we'll reconvene at 11:33. Okay, I hope everyone was able to grab a snack or a sip of something to drink. We're at the tail end of our presentation, so not much longer. So I'll have Tanya go ahead and discuss marketing and communications to build the brand.
All right, y'all. So Marisa really broke it down for us on all the nuances about social media, email, a couple of other channels. And we want to really reiterate that when you do that elevator pitch, right? When you do most of those different channels that we talked about, you're selling in front of someone. You're telling someone, my brand's awesome, my organization's awesome, they're doing all these really awesome things. And that's promotion. That's you talking to someone and really promoting your brand. Now, how many of us, let's say you're going to go buy a car, you're going to go buy something that you've been meaning to buy for a long time, a purchase that you think about, right? You go in store or somewhere and there's a salesperson and they're really hyping up the brand, they're telling you everything. And you're like, wow, that seems really cool. But you're smart. You still want to do your own research later on. So you say, I'm going to head back. I'm going to go search the website. I'm going to go search reviews of this, testimonials. I'm going to go do my own research. And for a lot of us, we bounce back and forth between those different things. Let's say if I want to buy a car, I might do my own research, then come in store and learn a little bit more about what my options are. Then go back in and do a little bit more research and then come back again. And I might do that multiple times. So what I want to really reiterate is that's how you're building your brand, and that's how you're making sure that these folks who are considering using your services or considering donating to your nonprofit you're moving them down what we call the marketing funnel towards taking the action that you want to do. So when you're promoting these events, think of it as like a jigsaw puzzle, right? One single puzzle piece where if you promote one event, that's one thing that you're putting out there. It might just be letting people know that you exist, letting people know that you have this event. And what you want to do first when you're in that initial stage, when you have maybe a 1 or 2 person team for even marketing, even if that one person is yourself, you have a small budget and your immediate need, the thing that you need to do is reach your intended audience. So when we put out information about ourselves and our brands out there, we hypothetically could have it reach anyone, right? Someone from the furthest corner of the world could learn about my brand. But who I really want to focus on is that target audience. So what you really want to focus on in those early stages, some of y'all are at different stages in your nonprofit journey, but really focus on just validating your ideas. So if you're a nonprofit that's maybe been running for 3 months, you just want to make sure, hey, can I keep this nonprofit running for a year? And can I have proof of concept and show that it can be successful? Can I let people know about what I'm doing so that I can validate and have, at least a year's worth of customers, of folks who've participated in these programs to say, this was good, this was useful, right? And once that works, then you can go and remarket to them, right? So you're adding a couple more pieces to this jigsaw puzzle. And that allows you to have increased consistency. Like Marisa talked about, right? When it comes to social media, posting consistently is important, right? And like Christina talked about in that icebreaker, if you're just saying that you're going to be doing all of this, but you don't actually do it every day, it's January. We have these New Year's resolutions. Are we going to be consistent with keeping those up? While we do that, we're going to discover what's working and what's not. So if I'm constantly just putting everything out on Instagram, but I do some research and I find out my audience is on Twitter, then I realize, hey, that's not really working. I should shift focus so that I'm not wasting my time and my energy, my limited resources on that. Now, the other thing is you're going to gain recognition. If you keep talking about really being about this and really being about community in this way and supporting people in this way, folks are going to know you for that. Think about yourself, right? What is the one thing that you're known for doing? So if think it was Shanita. If Shanita is known for making that like Alfredo pasta, the next time I think of Alfredo pasta, who am I going to go to? I'm going to go to Shanita. And that's something that you want to be able to do for your brand. people recognize you for this certain specific unique thing that you were talking about in your elevator pitch. And that's where we started getting an identity around who you are, right? Shanita's not just the person who makes the Alfredo pasta. I'm not just the person who makes a mean burger. But as you start to get to know more features and qualities about me, you form an identity and a perception of who I am. And that means that you're able to better craft your message and who you're delivering this message out to. So you're targeting back maybe those same people who were in your initial stages that you were promoting to. So you want to grow beyond that audience a little bit, but also still keep people coming back all the time. Again, you can think of it like a restaurant. You could have 500 customers, but if all of these customers only come for one time, then you're not necessarily successful in your business. You want to have folks who are like, you know, I can't live without this mac and cheese right now, right? I want to come back every single day, have it for lunch, dinner, breakfast, all of that. So you're really forming that identity and you're building loyalty. So that's when you shift over into branding. And that's where you've got a pretty solid, finished, but, you know, still adding in a couple of things here and there, but effectively a finished overview of who your brand is in that jigsaw puzzle. You've solidified your identity. The community knows who you are. They might even be better at knowing your message and they themselves becoming brand ambassadors of who your brand is, of who your organization is. And that's where you can put out long-term campaigns. So I'm gonna take Nike as an example again. If Nike was just, you know, a really small shoe selling business, their number one thing that they gotta do is just sell the shoes, right? But every person on this planet knows Nike's tagline, right? What's their thing? Just do it. Which means that they're able to run campaigns that talk about all the nuances of their company tagline, their slogan. So beyond just being a company that sells shoes, they can be a company that empowers athletes of all different sorts of shapes, sizes, backgrounds, and you can run longer term campaigns. And you might even be able to, you know, get enough return on your investment to where you have a larger budget to be able to work more with your ads. We do not need y'all to be out here spending your hard-earned, hard-raised money if you don't have a clear plan for it, and if we're not confident, and if you're not confident that you can make the most of that. So if you're starting out in that promotion stage, have a $10 budget. It sounds really small, but you can actually get a lot of information out of doing a small test, an A/B test, right? If you want to put out a small Facebook ad where one of your captions specifically mentions your audience, one of your captions specifically mentions your donors, which one gets more hits, you want to be able to test that, and then you build that really strong reputation. YCD is in our 50th year of being in community. We're celebrating that this year. And what we're really proud of is having built that strong reputation, but that comes with time. And again, y'all are at different aspects of your nonprofit journey, but the longer that you're there and the more that you keep working and working at this, the more that you have that really, really, really strong reputation for providing this service and that people are going to want to come to you. So you're really going to do a lot of effort in what's called outbound marketing, where you're putting out all this information, right? It's like if you're looking for a job, right? You're like, hey, I need a job. You're putting that out there. But when you move into branding, you have folks coming to you, right? That's like having like a recruiter come to you. Or that's like if you're Nike, having someone come to you saying, hey, I want to buy a shoe, instead of you constantly being like, I have a shoe for you to purchase. And that makes it so much easier. So the best companies have a mix of those two, but start out with that inbound and really shift over slowly into that outbound. Sorry, outbound and then inbound. That's what I meant. But that's really how that jigsaw piece comes together. So if you think about each of your interactions being a jigsaw piece instead of just a one-off interaction, you're really, really going to have a lot of effort into building that brand, and it'll be really useful. Bobby, did you have a question?
Excuse me. Yes. You mentioned when you were talking about the promotion and a small budget, and you said something about, I know you were using just like hypotheticals, but you said something about, you know, like a $10 budget or something, and then you were saying something about certain campaigns or certain ads that you can do like on Facebook or on different places to test. Do you guys have more information on that, or can you send more information like on what some of those are? Because I'm a one-person marketing team for my company, and so any like little tools or things that you guys have used that are like low cost and that I can use to test and to start putting stuff out there would be really helpful. Is one, I don't know if it was a question, but I think that's more of a statement and an ask. And then the other thing is like I have my first intern, and I'm looking at like going to get more interns. And one of the places where I need assistance, social media marketing and just marketing in general. And so I'm curious if either online or offline, somebody can speak to like how's the best way to go about looking or working with some colleges to get interns, or potentially to recruit interns to assist with that.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Tanya. Mind if I jump in and answer that question really quickly? So at YCD, we have a program called the Fellowship, which is what Tanya is brought on in. And so it's like a 1-year program where they either work within YCD or externally at a different organization or a different company, depending on what their interest is. So they come to YCD in search for a position within their career interests, and we kind of do the placement based off of that. And as of right now, we do have one college student who is interested in marketing and social media. That is kind of on our team, but we don't really have the capacity to really manage him yet, just because of everything that's been on our plate. But Bobby, this is a conversation that like you and I can have offline, that maybe I can like introduce you to him. And he's fully sponsored by YCD, but he just really needs a placement right now in a marketing and social media position.
Well, definitely want to speak to you offline, because I have a tremendous amount of content and I've been collecting all this stuff, but getting it out and getting it on the social media has been extremely challenging because I've been pulled in 1,000,001 different directions.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'd like to have a conversation offline.
that's perfectly aligned with what his interests are. So let's definitely connect after that. So back to you, Tanya.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great point. Social media management is different to social media content creation, right? You're out here making all this content, and it's great to have a content bank. There's so much more that we could talk about marketing, y'all. We're really trying to cram it all into these couple hours, but you want to have things that you can post sort of anytime. We call that evergreen content. And then you have things that are more specific to like your events, things that you need to put out immediately, information wise. In terms of what you were talking about, Bobby, there are 3 main types of media. There's organic, so things that you're putting out by yourself and naturally is an extension of your brand, who you are. You have earned. So once you've been putting stuff out there, you know, a news channel might do a report on you. Now, you're not paying for that promotion necessarily, but you've been out in community, you've been talking about your brand enough, so where you've earned the attention, you've been earned someone noticing you. And then you have paid media, where you're paying for someone to, you know, do a promotion for you, like a TV ad or something. So you want to focus a lot on organic first. If you don't have a significant budget, you kind of shift over then into earned. And then if you have a smaller budget, you can play around with paid ads a little bit. We can send some more resources to you on that, but really the best thing to do is, let's say you have an event coming up, set aside, what I do is $50. It's no more, no less, just $50. Set an ad campaign over, let's say, 7 days, and try 2 or 3 different versions of the same ad. Just change one thing, right? Because all you want to do is, it's like science class. Just do a control and see what works best and what resonates with your audience. So if you can figure out for just this one campaign, just promoting this one event, what resonates the most, then you have data. And data is the biggest thing that you can work off of marketing wise. Because at the very least right now, even if you don't know anything about marketing, you know your audience. If you know your audience, that's 50% of your marketing done. Because knowing your audience and continuing to educate yourself on your audience is the most important thing. And that will allow you to shift through all these different stages that we've talked about. But hopefully this has been a great jumping off point in terms of everything to do with building the brand. I'm going to quickly go over some useful marketing tools that could be great resources for a couple of these things that we're talking about. So if you're doing graphics, video, and email marketing, we've already talked about Canva. This presentation was made on Canva. We are Canva fans at YCD. If you have a little bit more advanced graphic skills, you can do Photoshop. iMovie is also pretty friendly. And Final Cut Pro for video editing. MailChimp is super free, super easy. There are other similar email marketing platforms, but MailChimp is really comprehensive and very visually attractive. So if you want to put out newsletters that are less purely text heavy and can actually have your brand colors, you know, some brand images, this is really useful to be able to do. Now, content scheduling. We use Buffer over at YCD, and that enables us to put out something on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and then maybe something else if we want it. So we can schedule it out ahead of time. We all enjoyed a nice Christmas break, a holiday break this winter, but we were able to still put things out and have things be put out while we're not there. So that allows us again to set those boundaries that Naya was asking about earlier. We have Hootsuite and HubSpot, which are also really good. Check out Hootsuite and HubSpot. They're sort of marketing authorities, really. They, on their educational tabs on their websites, have great resources to just learn about marketing. Not only about how to use their platforms, but general things about marketing, especially online marketing, digital marketing. So that'll be really helpful. We have ClickUp as well, and we have Monday.com for content scheduling. Another useful thing. Facebook is really useful because if you're already doing a lot of business on Facebook, then you can have Facebook and Instagram, which are interlinked, put that content out at the same time. And Facebook ads are some of the oldest ads that have been running out on the internet since 2009, 2010. So they have a lot of data and a lot of really useful information that can help you understand, there are really technical terms when it comes to marketing. Facebook makes it pretty friendly. And they, again, have a lot of education out there on what content gets put out the most on Facebook. How does the algorithm work? All that stuff. Website management wise, we talked about Squarespace. We talked about Wix. WordPress is, I would say, an industry standard for small to medium sized businesses. And what we did is we had another company make our website, and Christina's been working really hard to go in and add a lot of really cool features and tweaks to the website so we can really personalize it to what we're trying to put out. If you want a great resource, Neil Patel is the world's leading expert on search engine optimization. One of my favorite things to do is, let's say Super Bowl's coming up or something, right? I'm not American. I don't know anything about the Super Bowl. But before and after the Super Bowl, things are always mentioned, right? When you have ads put out or when you have sports teams, going out and doing their thing. You can track actually in terms of Google searches, Bing searches, search engine searches, what is being searched for. So after a social media event happens, after Giving Tuesday, which happened this past November, that was a national day of giving, I can see which searches are trending. And if during a certain time of year, during a certain time, people are looking for this more. So that helps you to know when you can market to. Because you don't, depending on your capacity, you don't need to be putting out information every single day. You might want to just really concentrate it on the wintertime when people have access to your services or are looking for that. Maybe you want to just put things out very casually over the course of like a year. That's for you to decide, and Neil Patel is a great resource for that. So check out his stuff. And then lastly, organization. We've given you a lot of information on marketing right now. I know. But the biggest thing that you can do is you have your notes, you have what you've already been doing, organize it. Put it together. If you want to put a team together like Bobby is working on right now, how are you going to onboard them onto that if you have all this knowledge in your head about how you've been marketing? So putting it on a Google Drive, maybe setting those different subtasks or tasks that you want on something like Trello or ClickUp can be super useful to be able to really see what you've been doing and also tracking that success or those failures. That little last orange icon at the bottom right corner is Google Analytics. So once you make a website, Google can track your analytics and see when are you getting traffic. And if someone comes to your website, are they like, not really for me, and they're clicking off? Or are they going and searching all the different aspects of your websites and really honing in on those parts? So organizing it is going to be key to expanding your marketing team and also making sure that you're able to build that longevity that we're talking about. So that's been a lot. We don't necessarily have a lot of time, but I'll turn it over to Christina for sort of the end of the workshop. You're muted, Christina.
Oh, thank you. So this would be the kind of the workshop session where we kind of sit down with you and really dive into what your immediate needs are. We're hoping to maybe do a follow-up session. We can coordinate that with Jermaine to see if you guys are interested in, like a part 2 or a continuation and a deeper dive into this realm of marketing. I know a lot of folks don't necessarily have a marketing team, or they're like a one-man, one-woman show in charge of everything, but really utilize the network that you have. Like this itself is a great network. So feel free to send along any information that you would like us to repost, reshare on our Instagram or our LinkedIn. We're more than happy to. If you haven't already, check out our website. All our socials are linked there. And if you follow us and you post something or you tag us, we'll go ahead and reshare that and bring more views and publicity or engagement into whatever you're putting out there. So this is our contact information. Feel free to ask us any questions or, if you want to follow up on a conversation that we weren't able to dive deeper into today, and we're more than happy to connect with you individually. And I'll go ahead and pass it back to Jermaine if there aren't any questions.
Awesome. So yeah, if you guys do have questions or any more questions, because I'm glad that you guys have asked them. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to throw any of those out, whether it be on the mic or on the in the chat. But one, thank you all so much. Again, I get so much out of this. I love these so much, and so much information as well as inspiration to get it tighter and to improve what we're doing. One of the questions that arose for me, and Naya, I know you're going to have some questions, or you had some questions as well, was regarding, I think who was speaking at the time was Marisa, and I had it made me think about how there are certain people, the first person that comes to mind, I remember when Drake first came out, and not first came out, but I want to say, because I heard he did a song with Trey Songz, but after that, he was on like everybody's song. I want to say there was like a period where it was like Timbaland, and then it was Lil Wayne, and then it was Nicki Minaj, and it seemed like it was all happening at once. And I felt like those are the times where, I don't know what the term is for that. My mind maybe is venturing towards stardom, but I just think about how when all of that is happening around one person, that's like, for instance, I think about movie stars. So it's like they're in every movie right now. Like the guy from, people from Get Out, right? It's like, hold on, you were just doing ... Is that a way by which we can kind of imagine when we do marketing that we're not just trying to do it in, if you will, like just do the t-shirts, or just do post on Instagram, or just have a website? Is it important that we kind of think about it in terms of maybe two or three things that we're doing in order to get our brand out versus one thing?
Yeah, I think the technical term for that is popping off. Really making sure that you're omnipresent. Right. So
yeah,
things like that are very, very strategic when it comes to the larger scale aspect of things. Right. You see someone in one thing, like Michelle Yeoh just won a Golden Globe. And Michelle Yeoh's been around for ages, but like some of our brands have been, right? But she did one big movie recently, and there's been several different media pushes to really make sure that, for this past year, it's been a heavy, heavy investment in that. Now, then later on, for the next 2 or 3 years, she might not be as popular, but because they made enough effort for this one particular campaign, right, this multifaceted campaign, it resonated out. So if you invest your time in, let's say, for 1 month, you really want to be all about this one campaign, you can gain a lot of notoriety for that month and, be the important thing, be the popular thing for that month. And that might resonate out later towards that. So if you are a brand and you have a specific event, I would say choose an annual event, maybe a biannual event, and really focus and hone in on that, because you want to be known for at least something. You can build anticipation, right? Folks are really looking forward to, a fundraiser or a community drive that you're doing, or even something as simple as like a karaoke night, whatever you'd like to do. If you have something that invites people in, you can build up hype. And then after it, you can have people say, oh, I missed out on that one. I want to make sure I hit up the next one. You can really make sure to, be on that next single, be that next feature, just like Drake did.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. That was definitely something that I felt was, like you just said, had to be strategic. I mean, when you're just a consumer, you imagine that it's just happening. But I think when you're more behind the business of things, you're imagining that there had to be some type of correlation, if you will, cooperation amongst numerous parties to make sure that this one push has a big impact. Yeah, anyone else have any questions? We'll definitely be talking about these things in the next coming weeks and months. I was talking with Christina and letting her know the importance of, or what Candace was mentioning last training around the fundraising part as it relates to marketing. One thing that you mentioned, Tanya, was how when it comes to the rebranding part of things, it starts to be a point where you're not trying to get the word out, but at certain points, people start coming to you. And what she had mentioned was that the way that she had used social media with regards to fundraising was, at one point, it was like you were trying to let people know. And as time progressed, people knew already. And funders would be like, all right, we got to talk, because apparently you're that one. And so, okay, you tell us how much you need, and you tell us what you're going to do with it, because you've already built the credibility online with what you've seen. And so I imagine that could also be applied to the person that we talk about beauty to the streets, that people can see it so vividly, because she also ministers to homeless folks or the unhoused. And since it's so vivid, a lot of people can see it and go, listen, man, like, we know she's doing the work. We know they're getting in the trenches, so to speak. And that drives funders to us versus us being like, where's the next grant? How are we going to be able to acquire it? Well, all right. I guess that does sum it up. Again, fortunately, what we have done, we have recorded this. So this will actually be going out, I would honestly say, within a matter of minutes. Normally in person, we have to download it and then put it somewhere or whatever, but this will just be posted to our emails very soon, and so we can send that out to you all very soon. But definitely feel free to, like they said, reach out to them, as well as look at the content again, develop more questions. We could talk about it amongst each other, either again via email or via text or something like that. But yeah, I will say thank you all for the marketing team one more time for coming through and dropping all the gems. In terms of the presentation, was it already sent yesterday? Will it be sent today? How did it go, Christina?
Yeah, so I went ahead and sent it over to you and Naya yesterday. Feel free to share it. If you don't have it, I can send it over again. But I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for joining in on us today. I hope you were able to get some new knowledge and inspired you to kind of change the ways that you market or improve. Feel free to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Reach out to us personally through email, and we hope to connect with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you again. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Sweet.
Are we off? Is that it?
I believe so.
He, ooh.
That's what I just asked.
You could have
Guys,
said,
I
"Hi,
can-
Jermaine."
Yeah, Jermaine bounced. He was like, it's 12.
He was
I'm
like,
done.
"Get out of here." I'm still sitting here like normally Jermaine to be like, "Okay, you guys, well, what did you get out of it?" And da 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 da. I looked up, I saw his whole picture go.
Yeah,
I know.
that's what
Yeah.
I said too. I guess it is over.
You guys have any questions, or would you guys want a testimonial to go out?
I just wanna I just need help like with fundraising. So I think I'm gonna give one of the young ladies a jingle.
Okay.
So that's pretty much
Mhm.
all I need.
Okay.
I really got my marketing strategy down, the digital marketing and all that stuff. I'm really good with that part. I just need the help on the fundraising. Oh, there he is. We was all just about to hang out. We thought you just got on us.
I
was
was
keeping
so
it pushing.
Naya was like, they're still here. I'm like, oh shoot. Okay. Hold on. Cool. So whether you guys have any more questions or comments?
No, I didn't personally. I just thought I just wanted to make sure we were done. I didn't know if you actually dropped off or if that was it. So I'm good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be it for now. Again, usually we're in person, so we have the food and the whole thing. And then honestly, I would be much more prepared for kind of follow up. So yeah, let's do that if you guys can at all. Can you share it all? Just like your first responses, reactions to what was shared, because we want to get like kind of like testimonials, just kind of like what people felt about it.
I think most people jumped off, but I don't know if you would just want to get us who are still on.
Yeah, at least for now. Yeah.
All right. No, I would just say that really, first off, just really grateful for it, and it got a tremendous amount of information. There's like often the things that you need to do or are aware of some of the things that you need to do, but you get so caught up in the trenches of doing everything else that you don't make time, or you don't actually have time to like go back and revisit these and really be intentional with your strategy, with your marketing plan. Like I haven't even created one for this year, or even last year, right? It's like I'm just doing things on the whim, and now that we had some good wins and some content and some stuff that is out there, need to really focus and allocate some time to this, even though I got to figure out where I'm going to pull that time from. So but I'm glad to see this and to have this, because it gave me that refocus and that repurpose to make sure I'm very intentional about it. And I might have time. I forgot to mention at the beginning, just found out yesterday that we got a grant it's our biggest grant so far. It's still pretty small, but it's $50,000, which will help.
Ooh.
And I think it's going to allow me to be able to quit my 9-to-5 so I can focus all of my energy and attention on Pure One. I still have to try to make up from the loss of other finances, because if I just quit my other job, I'm still going to be really short after I pay out, because it's $50,000, but the $50,000 isn't going to go all towards like salary. It's only like 19,000 towards salary. So I got to figure out, okay, where do I make up this extra loss of another 40,000 somewhere, or 45,000 somewhere. So it's like, okay, but at least like my whole intention and goal is to really focus my energy and time on Pure One. And so having this meeting as well as the other ones have been really helping me to focus on what I need to be focusing on, think about what I need to be focusing on, and start making that intentional effort to allocate time towards those things.
Right. Now that's good. And what's also great, I mean, I wasn't even honestly expecting the opportunity that came towards you too, regarding someone that could possibly help with the marketing stuff. That was
huge. That's huge.
Yeah, that's really dope. And so honestly, they hadn't even I hadn't heard them say anything like that before. I know that there are folks around YCD that, especially younger folks who really like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. And so there are those skill sets. However, I know that there are, I didn't know that there were folks who didn't kind of like have something that they could do, but they could if they worked with another nonprofit. And so that actually is something I could look to her a little bit more for, and say, hey, if there are other folks that you would come into contact with, and we can possibly connect them with other folks that are part of the cohort too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely that's an extremely big thing. I was looking at a couple other options, but to have like a personally, vetted individual that's coming from another organization that you're working with makes a world of difference, for one. And then on my end, she had mentioned it. I think Christina had mentioned it. Was I already have like a plan? Well, actually, I think it was Tanya. I have like not only the content, but also have like how to train on it and to show them. So like I can literally get a person up and going, within a couple of days, and they can be like continuously actively having stuff to do. So it was potentially a beautiful blessing, and reminded me of the old saying of, closed mouth doesn't get fed, and you got to put out there what your needs are, and God will provide.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that worked out just great. How about with you, Shanita? Anything that it made you think about, or ways that you can make things happen?
Yeah. I need to probably work on my marketing. I mean, I know how to do it. I think I'm pretty good at it. I'm just lazy when it comes to it, because I know it takes a lot of work. And I know it's very important due to the fact that I am a nonprofit and I do need the funding. I do need the support. So I need to work on my marketing, my digital marketing as well. Really not social media savvy, really don't care to be on social media, but I know that's where the big audience is. So yeah, I gotta get busy.
Yeah. And it honestly makes me think about kind of what Candace was speaking about last time too. So there's a couple ideas. One is she mentioned the importance of just having like an allocated time that you dedicate to it, like each day. Now she mentioned 2 hours, but I imagine even with us, like, it could be something that doesn't take 2 hours of our time, but does take, let's say a dedicated amount of time, just regularly, to just make a post, share something, talk about something. On the other hand, what I recognize a couple of my friends did and advocated for is what they call a content day. And what they'll do is each week let's say on Saturday, one group was doing it on Saturday, and one friend that I know that was connecting with social media was doing this like monthly. And so what they'll do is they'll take out that day to bring outfits, right? Bring the outfits and make content for that whole week, right? Or make content even for that month, and really just take the time to go, okay, what are the 10 things that I want to post about, or what are the 10 things or more, right? Maybe 15 things I want to talk about, what I want to say. And okay, I'm going to do it for 7 days. So I need 7 shirts, right? Or 7 pants. And for those 7 days, I'll do this right now for, let's say, these 3 hours in which I'll just pack in all this content. And that is a way by which we can go, okay, it's all in there. And now, it's just a matter of using, like they were mentioning, Hootsuite, or the other ones where you can schedule them. Some of them, again, are cheap. Some of them have free plans. But either way, you're not having to get up every morning and figure it out, right? You're actually taking the time to plan it out and then prepare it in advance. I've even seen them use like Google spreadsheets in order to like divide up, okay, this is the day for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, for Friday. And then they'll go ahead and send out, write down all the captions. This is what this is about. This is what that post is about, and all of that. And so, again, it's not something that they have to do throughout every day to get a daily interaction on social media, but something rather that they do on the weekend in mass, if you will.
That's a great idea. I appreciate that. Like, just to make me think, like, just so like I was just saying, marketing plan and strategizing, like I can like sit down and take a day to sit down, plan out, do my marketing plan, think of what I need over the next 6 months or the next 1 year, and be very intentional and strategic about what we want to do and the messaging, and then take like maybe 1 day each month on a weekend and just make that my content creation day, and for each month. And so all the stuff will go out each month, using the scheduler, but it's still in alignment with my overall marketing plan. So I think that was something I hadn't even thought about or considered. Another great piece of information. So I'm glad you jumped back on.
Right. Yeah, one thing too, and this is what Naya and myself have been doing with regard to social media, is that I would say with the exception of this one because it's all on Google, but with the other presentations, what we'll do is we'll film the whole thing. And again, that's maybe a 2-hour discussion. And we'll go through it and we'll go, okay, well, this is this topic, that topic, this topic, that topic, this topic, that topic. And then now, since we've spoken for, let's say 2 hours, interacting for 2 hours about something, we could go in there and just start breaking it up and go, okay, this will be for Monday. All right, we'll use this for Tuesday. We'll use this for Wednesday, and we can plan those out ourselves. And so as it pertains to anything that you may need to say, right? And this makes me think about what we were talking about with Shanita when she was like, well, I'm not the best public speaker, right? When we're like, well, actually you could use Instagram and just talk, and then people will get to know your message, and they don't need to see you on stage to want to hear your voice and hear what you have to say. But all that to say is you could take that time on the content creation day and talk for a period of time and go, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what's been on my mind. This is something that, happened that got on my nerves, whatever it is. And then out of that 2-hour span, you go, oh man, that was a gem. Like, hold on. Like, don't get me wrong. We don't want to have the whole 2 hours be it doesn't all have to be great, but if you can grab different 30-second clips, 25 seconds, 1 minute clips where you go, oh man, like that was important to say, whether it's just about your organization, it's about your experience, about, what's coming up for you guys in the organization's future, why you do what you do, whatever it is. These are things that you can say, well, these statements can be associated with my brand, and I can just take these clips and allow these to turn into videos, small videos, if you will, about our organization, and that will be something that people can listen to or watch when they scroll on our pages. Yeah. So yeah, let's continue to connect. I know next Wednesday we actually, because of the holidays, New Year's Eve, last week, the craziness, this week's craziness even. Next week, we do have someone coming in from Love Never Fails, and they will be here on Wednesday. So if you guys can, again, plan to show up again next Wednesday, that'll be great. And then we'll connect again as well.
Oh, wait. So
is that? I think I just ran across them for something. Like, I don't know how I came across them, but they have like a lot of, I think, good work that is going out.
Yeah.
It's a woman founder?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just came across and ran across her stuff and like saw her little story from like where she started, and how she was impacting people and working with friends. I don't know how I came across, but this was literally like last week. I came across something somewhere and decided to click in and read a little bit more about her.
Yeah. No, I go back with her a number of years, but her work, when we did catch up and do catch up, her work has definitely expanded out from an initial situation, an initial cause. And then it's been like, well, how do we get to the root of that? Well, how do we get to the root of that? And so it has expanded throughout the years to address a number of different things. And so, yeah, it's not just one program, sort of like YCD, right? It's not just one program or one area that they're trying to address. It's expanded it to be a number of things. And so she'll be talking with us about board of directors, as well as, or say with a small caveat around the importance of connecting with folks who aren't just in our immediate group or even within our own race and stuff like that, and how, you know, networking outside of, if you will, our comfort zones can help us in ways that we probably, you know, honestly can't imagine. And so, yeah, she's going to be here next Wednesday, and ideally it won't be raining or it won't be flooding, at least. And so we can be able to meet in person again.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Cool. And yeah, I'm seeing that, yeah, Anaya.
Shanita,
Yes.
you were talking about an event on the 28th. If you want to have a conversation about it, we can also discuss through email, just for like links and like details. I can also send you any examples and my price range as well.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Right. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you both. And Shanita, it's good seeing you, hearing you.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one. I'm going to go clean up.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Next week.
All right.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.